Special good night to you, Champagne, and to all our listeners from far and wide. Um, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, once it's Monday night, it's
Yes.
inside Castries, Southeast. And even with our limited protocols, in terms of limited movement as a result of the protocols, we are maintaining our presence on
Yes.
Sky and also GVD channel 115. The gentlemen, they have been doing an excellent job in
Oh,
terms
yes.
of coverage. And to all our listeners and viewers, and also those following us on Facebook, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I always look forward to a Monday night, but Champion, these Mondays really come quickly.
Oh, yeah. Very, very quick. Very. Before
By
you know
the
it.
time you check yourself, the week is out. I want to extend special greetings to the constituents of Castries Southeast and to everyone else. I did get an opportunity to visit a couple of the projects we are doing in the constituency yesterday afternoon, and also a few of them this morning before I came into office. And I want to say to Mabuin and the crew at Badi Shose, a special good night to all of you tonight. All those who are glued to the television or on Facebook, or listening to the radio.
Yeah.
In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine, Janelle, in Worcester, in Boston, and she was telling me the number of followers we have up in Connecticut.
Wow. Wow.
And so tonight I want to say special good night to Titus Matre of ELC Plumbing in Connecticut, along with Andy and Tifwe. These persons make it their business
Yes.
every Monday night to be in a place where they can view and listen to this program inside Castries Southeast.
Yes.
To the crew down in Cooleytown, there's a special place that they assemble and they watch on GVD TV channel 115, and also on they follow on radio if
Yeah.
there's any problem with television, and
Right.
that's to Roy and the others down there. And throughout the length and breadth of the constituency, I never realized that so many people were following this program
Oh, yeah.
and paying attention to what is going on. So I say special good night to everyone. I want to appeal to the people of St. Lucia and my constituent especially to see the protocols that are being enforced as beneficial to us, because we have a problem on our hands. The spread of COVID is getting to a point where it may become unmanageable. And I'm saying this not to scare anybody, but to bring it to their attention that the protocols that are being introduced is necessary. I've been around, I've been able to see and to hear, and I visited a few people in the constituency today, and they are quite understanding of why the government had to take that particular approach that we have taken. And it is important for us to know that the protocols are necessary because of the challenges that we face in handling the COVID situation. We have a special guest joining us
We do,
tonight.
right? We do. We do have a special guest in studio. The Honorable Prime Minister Alan Shastney has just walked in. Looks like he was in a war.
And so I will continue until the PM is ready to join us in the conversations.
Yeah.
But it is for us to understand that governance is a challenge in this time. And making the right decisions may not be the popular decision. It may not be what people favor, but that is what leadership is all about. Leadership is about being able to make the decisions when they are necessary. And I have said it, and I'm not saying it because the Prime Minister is seated next to me. I believe that all leaders are called for a special purpose. That you are called to lead at a time when that type of leadership is needed. And I still believe that St. Lucia is a God-fearing nation, and we believe in God. We trust in what He says and what His will is. And I believe it was not by accident that we ended up with Prime Minister Alan Shastney. Because the tough leadership that we've needed, the type of way that we've had to deal with this COVID pandemic, and it's not just Prime Minister Alan Shastney. It looks like every time UWP is in office, there's a crisis to handle. One time Labour was given a crisis to handle, and that was Hurricane Arlene in 1980, if you recall.
Yeah, long time.
And you know they did not last a year after Hurricane Arlene. It was a disaster. And I believe that it would be no different today had it not been for the leadership of the United Workers' Party. Any government would have collapsed under the pressure of managing COVID and the economy. And so I welcome the Prime Minister inside Castries Southeast tonight, and I will hand over to him because I know he has a message and things that he would like to bring up that the listeners would want to hear. Welcome,
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you and welcome to inside Castries Southeast. And we know you always make an appearance, but today you look like I've always seen you really dapper, but today you look like you were in a battle. I don't know if I should say that.
No, that's very appropriate.
Because, yes, I believe it is. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. First of all, I want to thank Guy. I called him a little bit earlier this evening and asked him if I could share some of his time.
Yeah.
I know that he needs as many hours to really talk about all the work that he's doing in his constituency, but also the work that he's doing to support all of us. I know in my constituency in Micoud South, the DVRP programs with the Blanchard Community Center, the drainage programs that we have done, the work that we're doing through the Taiwanese, the roads, the sidewalks, the playing facilities, all are facilitated through his office. So again, I just want to say on behalf of all of my constituents in Micoud South, Mr. Joseph, thank you for your team, what you've done in terms of trying to fight. I mean, people don't know how hard this man fights. And I remember after Hurricane Thomas in particular, when the excavators and the tractors and the trucks went to clear what I thought would be impossible, which was the Bar Little. And every night after Cabinet, we would go down and see the progress that they were making. And after that happened and we got the DVRP monies, or the beginning of the DVRP monies, and the standards or the conditions to access those monies were such that many of the persons who had actually cleared the hill or the road would not be able to participate. And I remember he said, if we have to find the money ourselves, that we will, but he is not going to bend. And he didn't.
Wow.
And because of him, a lot of the DVRP programs, the standards were lowered. And what I mean, not lowered in terms of making it less quality, but lowered so that local contractors could get access to the monies. And I'm very proud of the fact that, if not all, the vast majority of DVRP contracts have gone to small, medium-sized, and large contractors throughout the length and breadth of this country. So I just want to say, again, thank you to him.
You want to?
I wanted to come here tonight, Champagne, because when I hear persons wanting to put out rumors, so a rumor of me playing golf, that's petty, politics.
Very.
I get that. But when persons put out rumors to try to undermine the lives and livelihoods of people in this country, I get upset. And I think enough is enough.
Yeah.
This government from day one has classified COVID as the enemy. And think of it, here we are, all these months later. It's the enemy that has taken the wind out of us. It's the enemy that is preventing our kids from going to school. It is the enemy that is causing many small businesses to be on the verge of collapse. It is the enemy that is preventing our tourism sector from operating. It is the enemy that is taking lives from people. 13 people have lost their lives. So if there's anybody out in St. Lucia that still wants to pretend that COVID is not real,
Yeah.
go and speak to the families. It is the enemy that's causing people to go into quarantine and to be away from their families. It's the enemy of the persons who suffer from underlying conditions. High blood pressure, diabetes, to name just a few. And this enemy can only be defeated by one set of people. There's nobody to come and fight the fight for us. Nobody. There's nobody from America or England or Europe or Martinique or from the rest of the Caribbean, because they're all fighting their own battle. I'm here tonight to tell St. Lucians, we can only win this war together. And let's not underestimate what I mean by together. Together is not some of us. Together is not most of us. Together is all of us. There's a time for politics. There'll be elections. Constitutionally, we have to have elections. I'm ready for elections.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready to put the work of the United Workers' Party on the line for the people of this country. But guess what? I put that aside. Because there is a bigger priority right now. And it's called saving lives and saving livelihoods.
Yes.
And we say these two words, and do we genuinely, really, honestly understand what it is?
Yeah.
That when I go to work, I have people who call me and tell me, PM, shut down the schools. I have people who call me and tell me, PM, I want my child to go back to school.
Yeah.
I have PM, please shut down the country. PM, please don't shut down the country because my business is not going to survive. PM, I'm working at a hotel. I know how tough it is. That's the only job I have. I cannot find it. I have my kids to feed. Please help me. And then you have people who say, shut down the country.
Yeah.
And that's why from day one we've understood the difficulties that we're facing. That we cannot favor one and not take care of the other. We must take care of lives. And right now, we're in a position where this is a multiplier effect. So the Prime Minister of Denmark put it really well. If you are going to fill a glass, one drop at a time, but every drop is twice the size of the last drop. It is not until the last drop that the glass will fill. Because the last drop will be the same size as half of the cup. So that tells you it multiplies. So the numbers, we all of us know somebody who's been affected by COVID. Who of us doesn't know? So this idea that there is no such thing as called COVID, or wants to believe that Alan Shastney or United Workers' Party or somebody has some vendetta against anybody in St. Lucia to say, you cannot go to work. I have said it. If you shut the country entirely down, we're not going to survive. Are the public servants willing to accept a subsistence allowance? Can you genuinely justify in your heart that the doctors and the nurses who are at the testing facilities, working hours, passing lunch, and putting themselves at risk, the ambulance drivers, the customs officers, the police officers, all of these people, the same vendors who are putting themselves at the risk to be able to earn a living, and just one day missing at the market, what that impact would be. Where are we going? When I hear people wanting to blame this person and blame that person, blah, 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 come on. There'll be plenty of time to lay blame. Right now we have an enemy.
Yes.
And that enemy is trying to take the breath away from all of us. When people talk about, I cannot breathe, the only thing that is preventing people from breathing in this country is COVID. You don't even have to have it. And it's preventing you from breathing. Came here tonight, not to appeal to St. Lucians. You're all big people. You're all grown-ups. Only one set of people can win this fight. One. All of us. And this attitude that we have, that we can pass somebody on the road who's not wearing a face mask, who's not doing the right thing, and say nothing? Come on. We are better than that in this country.
Yeah.
Okay? And we have not come this far to lose the battle. We have shown that we can operate in the economy and keep people safe.
You know, Mr. Prime Minister, for me, shutting down the country doesn't matter if you shut it down for 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. When you reopen it, if you have the same behavior, the same attitude, you go right back into the same disaster.
But
Isn't that a fact?
but guess who's going to shut down the country? COVID.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
look at how many businesses where a person in their business has been affected by COVID, and so people can't go to work. That's what I'm saying to you. The enemy is COVID. COVID is the one preventing people from going to work, from going to school, from being able to recreate. And more importantly, COVID is the one that's taking people's lives. And there's only one solution. We all have to be in the fight. Now, when I hear people say, well, the economy is going to shut down, the economy will shut down by itself. Continue behaving the way we're behaving. Continue to ignore what everybody is saying. And as I said to you, the vast majority of people in this country are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
There are some of us who are not. We're not going to win this fight with some. We're not going to win the fight with most. All of us. There are too many examples. So when I hear people tell me, I love life, I want my child to go to work, I want to keep my job, then if you're saying those things, then to do it, everybody in St. Lucia must do the right thing. There's no magic hair champagne.
Yeah, but Mr. Prime Minister, the message seemed to seem to be falling on deaf ears for a lot of people. Because as I drive around, it doesn't matter what you say here tonight, what the CMO says, still see people out there on their daily operations, no masks, barebacks, hugging each other. What would it take to get the full message
Because
to
there
everybody?
are people who believe that there is a magic wand, that Alan Chastney and the government of St. Lucia are the ones depriving them of these liberties, of depriving them of money, that somehow that there is some way where we can shut down the economy, shut down the ports. So a St. Lucian who needs to go out for medical purposes, shut down the airport, the hotels.
Yeah.
When you shut down the hotels, the airport shut.
Yeah.
So it means that the only way to get international would be go through Barbados. And that's if Barbados can keep it going.
And then you have to go through quarantine in Barbados, right? No?
Not if you're in transit.
Okay.
But the fact is that that's what you would have to do. Now, I don't want to give secrets, but I have family members who can't get into a small plane. So that means they have to wait for a boat. Yeah? So there's practical reasons. These are the things that we're trying to balance at all times. Because we recognize in a country there are people with different needs, and there are always going to be people with different perspectives. But being in the big seat, I have to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm on the side of the people of this country.
Yes, sir.
I'm on the side of this country. And it is my responsibility and the responsibility of the people in my cabinet to show leadership and to motivate everybody. I'm not here to demean anyone, to criticize anyone. It's only to tell us what we need to do. We need to put blinkers on and focus on what we have to do to win this war. And as I said, nobody from the outside can come in and win this war for us. How do I know that we can win this war? Taiwan. 25 million people. Economy, people going to restaurants, people enjoying themselves, people recreating. How? Discipline. They understand who the enemy is.
Yeah.
And they understand that one person lowers their guard and it affects everybody. Because it comes into the household. Household then goes to other people, goes into the businesses. And it spreads. This is not overly complicated. Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, huge populations. People have understood who the enemy is.
Yeah.
They've understood that they have to stand hand to hand, side by side. No weak link. And they're not scared to call each other out. Now, our society is not accustomed to that kind of authority. And so again, we have to understand our culture, we have to understand our people. And the churches, amazing job. It's okay to believe in God. Good thing to believe in God. It's a good thing to pray. But at the end of the day, you're still responsible for your actions.
Yeah.
Can't blame that on the Lord. If you love your neighbor, if you love your family, if you love this country, do the right thing. We need 3 weeks to cleanse this country.
So what happens after the 3 weeks, Mr. Prime Minister? I know it might be a tough question to ask because
It's
you
easy.
don't have a magic wand, like you said. But
If people adhere to the protocols and we bring the numbers down, then we can continue to reopen. We'll never be able to reopen fully until we
Right.
have the vaccine. But we'll be able to reopen and people can go back to the bars and we can get the restaurants going and we can have it how we had it in October and November and in December.
you know, from my part, I could say to you when we had total shutdown from June. Was it from
April.
June? April. From April up until
April until May.
May. Total shutdown, we saw significant improvement when we went back to opening things piece by piece. And I must say it, I continue to say it, and some people don't like to hate, but we saw the surge after that huge match. Well, not just the one match, 3 matches. We saw a surge. Now, we don't want to bring into the politics there all day. It has to be mentioned because this is a highly contagious virus.
These are behaviors. These are things in which, again, as a society, if we accept that we're going to put each other first, if I can take that motto, because we all put everybody first. If we're going to put each other first, then back it up with behavior. Where's the action to support that? I mean, I listened to a political pundit that said, boy, maybe the Prime Minister missed an opportunity and should have called the elections earlier.
Yeah.
That wasn't in my mind because that would have put people in danger.
Yes.
So we will only call the elections when we have to call elections
Yes.
and when it's safe for the people of St. Lucia. And if in fact the date comes and we're still under this pressure of COVID, we're going to have to sit down and figure out how we're going to hold elections in a responsible way. But I certainly will not contribute to jeopardizing the health of people. So even when we talk about opening up the borders, and people talked about this second test, now these are where people put out things to deliberately try to undermine what the narrative is. We sat down for weeks putting the protocols together, and it works. Is it perfect? We never said it was going to be perfect. We said it would minimize the risk, and the trade-off in terms of what it would produce would be to our benefit. You cannot have a person come to St. Lucia, stay in quarantine for 2 or 3 days, test them, and if they get tested negative, let them go out. That's what the second test was. That's what Barbados was doing. That's what some of the other countries were doing. And the CMO repeatedly said she does not support the science of that. But there are persons who want to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And the impossible comparisons of saying, do we prefer St. Lucians to tourists? We're not doing it for the tourist. That's not what keeping the borders was about. It was the 7,000 or the 14,000 people who lost their job and their families, taxi drivers, farmers. That is who the risk was for. Not even for government. Because government is giving a whole bunch of tax waivers to make sure that people remain employed. Allowing businesses to open. Just let them stay alive. Imagine, Champagne, just the 5 days of businesses being shut, small businesses. People are suffering. People are scared. They can't meet their VAT payments. They can't meet their payroll. They want to be able to meet the bank obligations. That's what this has caused us. And I'm not going to one who's going to run away from what the truth is. We only have ourselves to hold responsible, me included. I don't separate myself from that. All of us.
You know, I love the fact that you made this statement you made earlier when you said the enemy is COVID. I think people really need to understand this.
Go back
The
and listen,
enemy
listen
is
to my
COVID.
first speech.
Yeah,
First speech with my cabinet behind me.
yeah,
COVID is the enemy.
yes.
And that's what I'm saying to you. People in this particular time, they're trying to play politics. There's a time for that. I'm ready for that day. Ready. But I am not going to put politics above the people of this country. My cabinet colleagues can tell you. I will always focus on what we have to do right now. Even this idea of what we're doing in terms of spending money on roads and other things is to keep jobs.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is let us employ people and put them into something that what they're doing is making a contribution to the development of this country. To undermine the value of a road in a community, to undermine the value of a healthcare center, to undermine the value of a community center, to undermine the value of improving the schools. Really? Who are these? These are not big projects for foreigners or anybody else. All of these things are for us. I can't take them away with me. And then to understand the logic between building a roundabout by Union by where Dame Perlette is, fixing up that road and taking out that S thing that every time it rains. If I'm lying, tell me, you know. Every time it rains and people are coming down that S curve, how many accidents you have on that road?
Oh yeah, the Monel Win is what it's called.
Repaving it all the way in Grand Riviere, getting to Corinth, fixing up that road. Look how beautiful it is now.
Yeah.
And then now going to Vesique,
Yes.
to go to Moshi, to connect to the La Traite Bridge, and now you're there. To take some of the traffic off of the main road and make it a pleasure. I know women and men who are scared to go on the Vesique Road. Too narrow.
Yes, especially that little bridge.
Well, that's La Tret Bridge.
Latchet,
and that's now gone.
Latchet, that's right.
And then we're fixing up Old Military
Yes,
Road.
yes.
And then you now have the road going to Derrimore with the spans, the bridge that was there. I mean, I went up to Plateau. Boy, guy, I found somewhere that's cooler than a forest there now.
Really? You think so?
Almost.
What? But it's so beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And to see the roads that are going in there for all of these people in the community. It's about building a new St. Lucia.
Let me, before you continue with the rules, where are we in terms of having a vaccine on island and administering a vaccine?
We are working hard. But guess what? They have over 200 countries in the world
Yes, it's
that
true.
are working
Harder.
hard.
Yes, yes.
Okay? I put that in perspective not to make excuses. Okay? So 170 countries came together and agreed that we would purchase together to get at least 20% of the vaccines here. That is supposed to get here at the end of March. The African Union, and again, it's a relationship that Mia, and I don't know if you remember when I flew over to Barbados to meet with the president of Kenya, and that this really fantastic relationship is now developed. So they centralized their purchasing, having included the Caribbean now in the purchasing of 1.5 million vaccine units.
Wow.
And so we've now signed up to that. And we have India, and we have some private sector persons that we're working on. Now, we learned with the ventilators that even if you have a commitment to purchase a ventilator, when it's about to be shipped, they call you up and say, the price has gone up. So I have no idea, honestly, Champagne, I'm being truthful to everyone, what's going to happen. Because everybody who is in problems, and there are a lot of countries,
Yes.
you think that we have cases, you have to go and see what's going on in some other countries. And it's not to say we shouldn't take what's happening here seriously. Comparisons are odious. Yes? But everybody now sees getting a vaccine as being the solution. So it's going to come. But as I've said to everybody, as those countries become vaccinated, the risk goes down.
Yeah.
And as soon as we can become vaccinated,
Yeah.
and not everybody in St. Lucia is convinced to be vaccinated as
Oh,
yet.
yeah, with all of the talk.
Okay? And we're going to have to provide the evidence and get their confidence to take the vaccine. I agree. I'm taking the vaccine.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay? So the reality is anybody who's going to want to travel is going to have to take the vaccine. And we have to start mentally preparing ourselves for that because there's going to be a new world. And in the midst of all of this chaos and knowing the fight that we have here, I have confidence in St. Lucians. St. Lucians just have to stop being misled by false propaganda, misled by lies and mistruths, and to read through what is being attempted here to cause people to rethink where we're going. What we have been doing is working. The protocols work. You know, Fauci said that maybe we have to double up on our mask. Right? Trinidad's economy is closed, correct? Its ports are closed.
From last year.
And guess what? They got the English strain.
Yep.
Jamaica closed its doors. It got the English strain. Why? It doesn't just take tourists. Our own nationals. That's the risk that we take in opening. And this government was ready for that. We're ready. But that readiness includes the people of St. Lucia playing their part, understanding that we're at a war.
Yes, sir.
And that we all have to, because we all want the same thing. Who wants the economy to be closed down? Who really believes that the government of St. Lucia can find money to pay everybody their salaries to stay home? Big sense from nonsense. Not possible. And this idea that, well, instead of spending money on the roads, you can spend money on that. We've
Yeah.
gone through that. How are you going to borrow money? How am I going to convince a bank to lend me money to
to
pass
people.
on to pay people their salaries to stay home. The bank is going to say to me, but wait, Chief,
Oh my,
How are you
get
gonna
my money
repay
back.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
at least I can argue with the roads and everything else that it's going to increase the capacity, and as soon as COVID comes over, that we're going to be much more competitive. But you know, I love my fellow solutions, and I get tackled every day. And anybody that can get something, they're going to get it. I get that. I have zero difficulties with that. But as the Prime Minister of this country, I'm going to try to weigh all the interest of everyone and make what we think are the best decisions. And,
Yeah.
and it's not an easy thing, right? Because I feel the pain of parents who are scared to send their kids to school, and I feel the pain of the parents who want to send their kids to school. Same country, two different perspectives.
Yes, sir.
I feel the pain of the persons who say shut down the borders, and I feel the pain of the persons who depend on their livelihood for the borders being open.
And where are you between those two differences? You're stuck somewhere in the middle. So how do you make the differentiation between the two?
It's not about being stuck in the middle. It can coexist. And that's why, you know, when you have a light switch at home,
Yeah.
on, off, that's not what we have. You know the dimmer switch? So if you want to make it lighter, you
Yes,
push the
you-
dimmer up.
right.
If you want to make it darker, you push the
Gradually,
lid down.
yes.
That's
Yes.
what we're doing. So as the cases increase, the dimmer switch goes down. But the dimmer switch can never go off.
Okay.
As the cases decrease, the dimmer switch goes up. But it never goes to the full extent. Because we know that you can't allow the economy to completely be free. Because you always have to put protocols in place to make sure that if you can get a mistake, that mistake doesn't spread. That's what we're trying to do. So over Christmas, I mean, this is not difficult for people to figure out. There are some persons who went to one too many parties,
Yeah.
drank one too many
Yeah.
drinks, wore their mask one or two times they shouldn't have, became closer to people than they should have, and did not do their hand sanitizing. And enough of those people got infected that now it got into the households, and from the households it goes into businesses, and from the businesses vice versa into the households. Yeah? Similarly, we had a situation with one hotel. Clearly, the hotel ran a full occupancy. It should not have.
It should not have.
No. The protocols were for hotels only to run at 75% occupancy. But it's to
Wow.
resolve the problem, learn from it. Now, if you didn't know, you now know. Right? But these are the things that we have to do. And as I said to you, you're going to make mistakes. We never said it was perfect. And the key is to be able to adjust every time a mistake is made to recover. In October, we recovered. Numbers started going up. We put protocols in. They came right back down. We kept protocols in place for Christmas. When we didn't want to do the fireworks, oh boy,
Yeah.
guy
yeah.
can tell you.
Oh yeah.
Big
oh, yeah.
fight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Big fight.
I had one guy who said he had some people on a yacht, and he was supposed to make a certain amount of money because he was the one responsible for bringing that yacht in somewhere down in Sufra, and he was really mad because they were supposed to have on All Year's Night fireworks on that yacht.
Now I know the situation.
Yeah.
Now you know what's interesting, and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not. Everybody wants to be the exception. So right now we have people calling us, "Let my business open."
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to die if I don't open. And the moment you start making the exceptions, that's when all of a sudden the protocols start falling down. We have to hold the line for 3 weeks. That's why no liquor for 21 days. We've contracted activities for 10 days. Let's see the progress that we make. Do I expect all the numbers to disappear in 10 days? No. What I want to see is at least that they have stabilized, and then we're going to start going back in the right directions. And based on where we are, we'll determine which of the protocols we keep in place. So as I'm saying to you, the people of St. Lucia are the ones who are going to dictate the extent of the protocols. If in fact people are listening, then the protocols can be more liberal. If people in St. Lucia are not listening, and we as a government have the responsibility But we know that in the Caribbean in particular, forcing people to do these things don't work.
No. No.
And that's why I'm here tonight. I'm taking away some of Minister Joseph's time. Because I think it's an important message.
Yeah, he doesn't mind.
So I will open up at this point because I don't want to take any more time with Mr. Joseph. So I don't know if he has anything to add.
I'm good. I think, PM, the issue of leadership is what comes into question. And people would expect us to say that, but they would have to experience it themselves to have an appreciation of the difficulties there is in leading at this point in time. Because as you see, people expect the Prime Minister to solve everybody's problem. And people are not willing, a lot of persons are not willing to play their part in the process. So I take it from a church perspective. We knew that we could only limit ourselves to 25 persons. I was asked to stand at the door in church on Sabbath. It was my responsibility to tell any visitor who was visiting the church that they are not allowed to come in on that day because of the limited activities. The Prime Minister has had a major challenge on his hand, and I think that the leadership that he has shown is clear that doing the right thing will upset some people.
Yeah.
If you want to play politics, let it be a free-for-all. A lot of persons have tried to make it that this is a tourist versus a local situation.
Can you believe that?
Nothing can be further from the truth. I can tell you the number of taxi drivers who approach me and tell me, Minister, please don't shut down the country. These people, sometimes your vehicle runs out of fuel and you say, when you see it's on empty, you say you're running on the fumes. Well, even the fumes for some of these people have vaporized, have gone out. All they are doing to keep themselves and their family going is if they make one trip for the week and they make $80, that they can buy a little groceries to put at home. When you just, everybody can say shut down the country. So if we shut down the country, we shut down the ports. No boats are coming in. When we run out of food, the days when we had bananas and we used to say nobody can starve in St. Lucia, that is no more.
Those days are gone.
If you see a couple months go by, you run out of flour, you run out of sugar, because if you go into shutdown, and we look at the countries that shut down and we figure out we are them. So we look at Trinidad. Most of what we consume here is purchased in Trinidad. Okay, so Trinidad can afford to shut down. They have reserves.
Yes.
The UK is almost self-sufficient. They can afford to shut down. They can print money and they can take care of their people. They have a social welfare program where they pay housing, they pay allowance, they pay everything to you. Your gas in these houses, you don't go to a store and buy a tank of gas.
Right.
There's a pipe that comes to your home.
That's right.
That brings the gas. So when people are saying shut down, do we understand that the poor lady who has a 20-pound cylinder that has 1 week left and does not have a backup tank,
That's right.
that if at the end of while she put her food on fire, the gas runs out, she must be able to go and buy a tank of gas somewhere to finish cooking that same meal.
Yeah, but the boat didn't come in.
Now, if there's no gas, what happens? You see, it's much bigger than us. And sometimes, PM, people, we place an over-importance on ourselves. And I know people can take that to me. When I check the statistics today, 2 million people have died in the world from COVID.
That's a lot of people.
Are these people not important? What is the population of St. Lucia? 180,000.
Yeah.
You think if half of us die, the rest of the world really cares? Do you think that, of course, some people will say, boy, St. Lucia was a nice place.
Yes.
It was, but we are responsible, and I think that's the message that the PM is trying to get.
Yes.
And I know people will misread him. They will, because his opponents want to send a certain signal. But I have, as he has said, I have confidence in the people of St. Lucia, that they are seen beyond.
But let me say this to you, Guy. So, when there's that kind of narrative and tit for tat, so let's take Kenny Anthony. Came out and made a statement the last week.
Last week.
Positive statement. But the statement is lost because it's an environment, a toxic environment, which is a shame. But I understand. But at the same time, this is what I'm trying to say to St. Lucians. If we genuinely care about our country, and we genuinely believe in the things that we're saying that we believe in, everybody must set down their arms. Embrace what Kenny said as being a good thing. Whether it was too late, doesn't matter. It's never too late in this fight. But when the environment is toxic, and that people are second guessing and triple guessing why people are saying things, and we cannot work as one, then that's what happens. And I'm here to say, let us stop it, St. Lucians. We are better than that. Let us understand who the enemy is for now.
Yes.
Okay? We will have time to squabble between ourselves. But COVID doesn't care whether you are Labour, Flabo, independent, black, white, Chinese, Indian, rich, poor, farmer, taxi driver, businessman. It does not care.
No.
And I think that that's what Kenny was trying to say. And whether it took his own personal experience to appreciate that, I am grateful that he came out and said that. But I am disturbed that the toxic in the air is so bad that we can't take it for face value.
For the value of it.
Okay? And I'm man enough to say that. It's not about politics right now. Politics will come. Let's beat this enemy first. Let us save lives. Let us save livelihoods. Let us mean what we're saying. Because there's a way for the person who is scared of sending their kids to school to send their kids to school. You know how? No COVID. And there's a way of sending a kid to school who wants to go to school safely. No COVID. There's a way to make sure that everybody can be at work, just like in Taiwan. No COVID. There's a way for everybody who want to come to St. Lucia. No COVID. And we've shown the world now is following St. Lucia. PCR testing and quarantining. That's it. And we've been asking that for months now. Now they're going in that direction to make travel safe. Everybody's realized that people are traveling are a big risk. So if we can work collectively together in the world, then we can reduce that risk. Even when you get the vaccine, that is not going to eliminate the risk. Nobody knows how long the vaccine is going to last for. So wearing your face mask and practicing the protocols are going to be with us for a while. Let's stop fighting that. Stop it.
Yeah, I have friends in the US who work in the health sector. They have received their vaccines, but they are still required to follow the protocols.
Yeah.
To work in a health institution, while they have received their vaccine, they still have to they are working at home even after they have received the vaccine. Because the evidence and the outcome of what is time. We need time. And the problem that COVID has caused for us is that we don't have the time to respond to everything. Because when your economy comes to a halt, you still have to eat every day.
Yeah.
You still have bills to pay. The only thing that has stopped is the money coming in. And the question is how long you can survive.
Yes. Yes. It's very easy to understand.
This is not complicated,
no,
you know.
It's not. No, it's
And
not.
when I hear people wanting to say, go do this and go
Yeah,
do that, and,
yeah.
and make it out to be like it's so simple. It's simple to close the borders.
Yeah.
It's simple to close the businesses. Okay? And don't want to understand the other side of the scenario. Right? People who want to misconstrue statements.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have said from day one, coexist with COVID.
Yes, sir.
And I said, and I don't know what that balance is, but we will keep working and we understand that that balance changes. Sorry, guy.
under the maritime laws, anybody who comes to your country on a vessel, even if they are sick, you are required to take care of these people. So they can say, yeah, close the borders and allow the cargo ships to come in. But if the cargo ship comes in with one person who is
Yeah.
sick, or 10% from the crew who is sick, you are required as a country, under the laws that we have signed, international treaties, you must take in these people, you must treat them, and you must assist them. Same way if somebody is found stranded at sea or whatever. So we are integrated as a world. We are no longer isolated. We don't live in the jungle.
No.
You don't live in isolation of the
Civilized
rest of the world. And that is our reality. So how can we not try to coexist with what is happening around us? And all we are calling for is a change of behavior, discipline. And this society has been lacking discipline for a long time.
Decades.
And that's an opportunity
Decades.
for us to analyze where we are and just come back to the basics. I mean, somebody said to me this week, but there's no flu anymore. You realize by following the protocols of COVID, by how much we've reduced the spread of the yearly influenza. Because you know what? During this time, or coming towards the Christmas season, more than half the population would have had the flu.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you it looks like less than 10% of the population contracted the flu.
I always
Why?
get it.
Because the protocols, the basic things that we had moved away from, cleanliness, observing your surroundings, your behavior, your conduct, just a little discipline in what we... So while we have the COVID, but we can see even the benefits of the other things that we are doing.
You know, we talk about the young people. I'm so proud of them. The young students, they're the ones reminding the parents what to do. We know that it's because of the young people of this country that we saved the Jaco.
Yes,
And
sir.
now we have too many Jacos.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
But also now there is a breed of entrepreneurship that's developing in this country. Boy, Champagne. It's so exciting.
Wow.
You can feel it,
Yes.
right? And they want to see the country prosper. They do. And I'm here tonight, and I will be on many forums in the next couple of weeks to say to St. Lucians that we are an evidence-based government, we are a compassionate government, one that cares, one that understands the culture of this country, one that loves our nation, and will always try to promote it to the highest. And we will not do anything to undermine an individual or our brand called St. Lucia.
Yeah.
Yeah? And I can tell you that genuinely is the case. But I want St. Lucians because there are some of them that I believe are being influenced by this, what I call second guessing. And all of a sudden, I saw how we had to go and talk to people about the second test. Once you explain to any St. Lucian, you tell them, so boss, person arrives, stays in a hotel for 3 days, test the person. If the person is negative, they can come out. They say, what do you mean? I said they can go to Friday night, they can go to bars, they can go to restaurants, they can come to your home. They said, no. But you see, that's not what it was being sold.
Yeah.
It was being sold as that we should be putting a second test on the tourist before we let them out. But the tourists are never being let out. The tourists are staying in the hotel. And the staff are going through a higher standard. So it's a completely different thing. It's a bubble by itself. And as Guy says, this is not about getting some tourists to come here and enjoy themselves. There's an opportunity, because of the success we had and because of our attitude of coexisting with COVID, that we could find a marriage. And that's what you were asking. What was that marriage? We need the planes to come in. We need to create jobs. So by keeping the hotels open, it generates enough volume for the airlines to fly, and it keeps people employed. But let's stay safe. And if at any time we felt that it wasn't working, we would stop it. So again, now in this period, what did we do? We cut out the tours, limited the number of people again.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's been adjustments in that sector. But we control our own destiny, Champagne. That's the part I don't understand. We're in charge, you know. And every day you have some people talking about who's in charge.
Yeah.
We're in charge.
You know, a couple months ago, as I drove around St. Lucia, and I saw the amount of indiscipline, and the guy just mentioned that we are undisciplined people, a lot of us. So I was thinking, well, the same way we go around during campaigns with those loudspeakers at the various communities, maybe we should do that.
We're going to be doing that.
Yes, go
We're going to
around
have
with those horns.
the campaign that we're going to be running is the campaign for independence,
Yeah.
which is we can and we will.
And I didn't even know that. I just followed that.
We can and we will. We can and we will fight COVID.
Yes.
We can and we will beat COVID. We can and we will, as a nation, rise above this.
Yes, sir.
We can and we will show the rest of the world that St. Lucia does have the discipline, has the capability. And despite COVID bringing many bigger of our country to their knees, and that is what's taking place right now,
Yes.
we have an opportunity to go against the odds. Okay? Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it will work. In the morning, early morning, you have these guys going around, wear your mask, social distance, and sanitize. And in the evening time, you know, I thought of that way back. Mr. Prime Minister, I'm not going to let you leave if I don't ask you to please...
One last question.
One more, yeah. To please try to break it down to St. Lucians, because it has brought up a whole lot of, I don't want to say controversy. When you said in 2 hours, you had this program 2 Sundays ago with the CMO and everybody else. And a few words were taken out from a 2-hour program in livelihood and lives. Now, I made my own interpretation on that. I knew what it meant, but can you please let St. Lucia know exactly what you were saying?
Well, look, I think that what I said was there. And it's the same thing I've been saying the whole time.
Yes.
Coexist with COVID, and it's about lives and livelihoods. The quote that came out was to suggest I said that economics or livelihoods was more important than lives. They coexist. So if we don't take care of the health of the country,
Yes.
we're not in a position to then take care of the livelihoods. The businesses will shut down.
Yes.
Okay?
It's true. It's true.
And if we do a phenomenal job of taking care of the lives, but it comes at the expense of livelihoods, we're also going to be in trouble.
Anyway,
Because there'll be anarchy in this country. You'll be healthy, but there's going to be no food.
No survival.
The standard of living that you're accustomed to will be gone. There'll be no flights coming into St. Lucia. There's no ships that are going to be coming into St. Lucia to bring any food. The bank loans were going to go to hell. So we have to focus on both. Now, what people have tried to suggest that I was saying, there was no point in saving lives if we don't have livelihoods. And I did say that. But I said it in the context of everything else that I was saying.
Right.
That we have to focus on both. Can't get away from that. Can't. There's no magic. We don't have the reserves. I've spoken about that. The government is holding its own. All the civil servants have been paid. For the most part, we are paying our bills, not as well as we used to before.
Right.
We're paying all of our debt. And that's what you don't want to. If you default on debt, you can't get any more money. If we can't get any more money, then the money to pay for salaries goes. If we can't pay salaries, that means that the civil servants go home with nothing.
Yeah.
There's no money, there's no way to collect the taxes. There's nobody to take care of you at the hospitals. There's no way of getting policemen to protect you. It's anarchy. So you cannot separate the two, Champagne.
Yes.
And COVID is threatening both.
Both. That's right.
And that's what I'm saying to everybody.
That's right.
If you are really outraged by what you think I said, and you want to just take that little 5-second thing
Yes.
and isolate it by itself, then you will jump on the bandwagon and make sure that COVID is defeated. Because I'm here to say to you, if we don't, and we allow COVID to win this battle, there is no economy.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Okay? There's
there-
no civil servants. There's no schools. The whole thing will come crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that's not about putting fear in people's hearts.
This is the reality.
That's the reality.
Yeah, so
And so we're trying to avoid that. And that's why we're saying you have to find that balance. And anybody out there who wants to say that we're doing it for tourists or the government is putting businesses before we put everybody, who are the businesses?
the locals.
Locals, but not only that, they're paying the salaries of
Oh,
people.
that's right.
They're keeping the economy going. So even the government's ability to collect taxes is to help pay salaries. The same nurses that you have to go to, the same building that electricity has to be turned on. None of these things are guaranteed. As Guy said, there's no empathy in the world to say that solutions deserve that. When I see how other people are suffering out there, and again, comparisons are odious. I don't sit here and say to solutions, look how much better you have it than other people. Let's fight our own battle. Let us understand that we can win this war. And it's a war.
Yes, sir.
And the enemy is COVID. Enemy is nobody else. And the only thing that can prevent us from doing that is if we allow ourselves to be divided.
Yeah. Yeah.
The time to make choices politically will come. The two don't compete. They don't.
There are those who would say that the NIC, because of the $1,500 that was given, the throughout last year, there are those that are of the view that there's still money. You want to tell St. Lucian that there's no more money? Well, I don't know that.
Well,
Maybe
NIC
you
has
would
put in
know.
an excess of $80 million.
Now?
No, when they put in the money
Yes,
for the thing.
Okay.
All right? And I mean, what's so funny is that there are some people who say they want them to put more, but those were the same people saying that the $80 million was going to bankrupt NIC.
Right. You believe it?
So I'm confused as to which one it is. And you see what I'm saying to you? They even confuse themselves in their overall. There are some people who just want to undermine the credibility of what the government is doing. And everybody should know that that's because of politics. There is no script for COVID. I couldn't go into the files and say, boy, Sir John handled this, or Kenny handled this, or one of the previous prime ministers of this country handled this situation. It never existed.
Never.
We had to write from scratch our own script. Give us some credit that we've made it here.
Yes, sir.
And that solutions are here. And I'm saying to you, there's a guaranteed solution to this problem. Once we all know that COVID is the enemy, we all go out every day when we leave our homes and fight the enemy and focus on who the enemy is, preserve our livelihood. If you genuinely want the kids to go to school, do the right thing.
Yes, sir.
If you want to have a salary, do the right thing. If you want the government to continue to provide the necessary services, do the right thing. If you want there to be a future, do the right thing. In the inauguration of Biden, one of the speakers spoke about the Capitol that was behind them. And during the Civil War, the dome was being built. Lincoln was the president. And Lincoln continued to build the dome during the worst crisis of Civil War.
Wow.
And he kept on building the dome. And they asked him, Mr. President, all these things going on. Why are you taking money to build this dome? He says, because people must know there's a future.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he was assassinated.
Well, he was assassinated for different reasons,
Yeah, I
but the
know.
fact
I'm
is
just-
that,
yes.
but the fact is that he's right.
Yes.
So building the roads, fixing the community centers, fixing
Yes.
the schools, doing the things that we're doing, having the new airport is about
Because
what?
there's a future.
There is a future.
That's right.
COVID will come to an end. And that's why I said in my speech, do not allow COVID to define us. There are governments I know in St. Lucia that if they were in government, COVID will be a blessing.
Wow.
You know why? All the excuses not to do.
Ah, yes. That is for sure. Oh, yeah.
My government has never wavered on its responsibility to the people of this country.
That's right.
Not for 1 minute. To go and find money to open up OKEU, to fix the air conditioning systems, to fix the vents, the old dilapidated elevators. Ask the people who are working there, the condition of the hotel, of the hospital already. To go and find money to fix up Victoria, to continue fixing up the healthcare centers in this country, to fix up the schools, and never wavered. There's a plan. There's a dedicated group of men and women who are leaders. I told you that. All of them are leaders. We will survive this, but I'm saying to the people of St. Lucia, as passionate as I may be, as much as I want to do it, can't do it by myself.
It's true.
Can't.
It's true.
How successful we're going to be at the end of the day, Champagne, is solely dependent
On us.
on us.
Yeah. And the enemy is not Alan Chastney. It's
Enemy
not
is-
the UWP. The enemy is COVID.
It's
and we
COVID.
need to continue to preach that.
COVID is the one taking
Yes.
away everything from
Yes.
people.
Yes.
You really believe, honestly, that I want to see small businesses fail? You really believe I want to see big businesses fail? You really believe I want to see the government of St. Lucia going after I have fought so
Yes.
hard for 4 years
Yes, sir.
to bring down the debt to GDP of this country, that all of a sudden in one swoop that I want to sign that off and,
Yeah.
and forget about that?
Yeah.
No way. And again, even in managing the government, it's to find that right balance of dealing with the issue right now and dealing with the future. But money is not going to solve this problem.
No.
PM, when we look at the situation as it exists today, I mean, we sit in cabinet, we have to choose what we can do because of the limited resources. But everybody still wants in the country have the same expectations. Now, businesses have been affected. The business community has taken a blow that it will take them, some of them, decades to recover.
Wow.
Some of them may never recover. And we have seen it in the US. The number of restaurants that have gone out of business, the number of small businesses. Now, when you couple that with what was already happening to vulnerable businesses by the online trading, some of these businesses have, I mean, I was having a discussion earlier this week with one of the call center people. And they said to me, look here, we believe that this model is workable. More people working from home. So while there are issues with COVID that has impacted us, but there are lessons that are being learned. So all the people who had to now take a bus, travel, sometimes take 2 buses to get to work. The business place would have had to pay water bills, pay electricity, pay air condition, all. Now they are seeing these people can work from home.
And doing it well.
The convenience for these people is now, I don't have to spend a separate set of money to eat at home and a separate set of money at work.
Yeah.
So now they can cook the same meal. They can have breakfast at home, they can have lunch at home, and they can have dinner.
And more quality time with their family.
and
That's
more
right.
time with their family,
That's right.
and still be able to put in their day's work and get their pay, saving the cost of having to travel up and down. The amount of shoes you'd have to buy, the amount of clothes you have. So there are challenges, and that is why I am very confident about where we are and the leadership that we have in the Prime Minister. Now, the Prime Minister is a very humble individual who will not take credit all the places that credit is due. But I know, as a politician, this is my third term in being elected. I've worked with every leader in this country. I worked with Dr. Anthony when I was president of the National Council on Public Transport. I worked with Sir John for a short period of time. I worked with Honorable Stevenson King, and I'm working with Prime Minister Alan Shasney. All leaders have their unique qualities and attributes and strengths. But what this Prime Minister has been put through to deal with this situation, and today we were having a discussion in my ministry and we were talking about the level of respect that the Prime Minister commands in the international arena. I mean, the people that he can pick up the phone and he can call, the influence that he has at the international level. I can tell you, Champagne, we must never forget that under the Labour Party administration, the Labour government was asked to go and put their house in order
Yes.
to raise money to run the affairs of the country. In the worst of times, this Prime Minister here, even though he's been very mild about it, has been able to raise every dollar that was required to make the shortfall of revenue,
Wow. We need to ring the bell on that.
to keep the country operational, to meet the obligations of the budget, to meet our debt payments. You know how many people did not roll over the bonds? And we had to find money every month that the debt was not rolled over to pay down this debt and to meet salary payments for public servants. And when people make noise, we had to pay salaries by the 13th before the 13th of December or thereabout. For the month of December. And the government was asking for a few more days to collect the money. And people were up in arms. You think these same people settling for a stipend for 3 months to stay home? Nobody. So we have to look at the reality of running the country. If you shut down the country, do you continue to pay everybody their salaries? Where are you getting the money to do it? Now, the opposition can sit on the sidelines because that's what they're going to do, and tell you all the things you need to do, and they have changed their story every single time.
Have you heard Prime Minister Gonzalez? He said of all the people in the world who are trying to figure out how to solve COVID, the only people that seem to know how to do that is the opposition.
That's laughable.
Okay?
Yes.
So let me say something
Yes,
to you.
yes,
What's
yes,
going on in
yes.
St. Lucia
Yes, yes.
is no different than anybody else. Okay?
I didn't hear that one.
All right.
That's laughable.
I'm here tonight to say to St. Lucians, the future is in our hands, nobody else's. Don't let anybody mamaga you. Don't let anybody put nonsense in your head. I'm not asking you to change your opinion about who you support or don't support. That's not what's at stake right
No.
now. Okay? Because as I said to you, COVID doesn't discriminate. But another example I want, today I went to MNC's to buy some fans. Minister King and myself contributed together personally to buy fans for the Leclerc Health Center because some of the fans were old that they had there. And I got in there and I saw areas in the place roped off. And I said, what's that? They said, well, because we're only allowed to sell certain items because of the COVID protocol. Do you know how much money that is, Champagne? That the company would have paid the freight, paid for the item, paid for the VAT on those items. It stays there because that's money that's not being turned over. So it's costing them interest on the money they borrowed to do that. So it's in addition to being less sales, but there's higher cost. That's what I want people in St. Lucia to appreciate. The COVID does not only discriminate health-wise, it does not discriminate economically. Everybody is feeling the pain. Look at all these young guys who opened up their rent-a-car businesses to take advantage of the events. Look at all the people who had their bands and making their money for Carnival and the other events. You know, my good friend Tonti and Jerry Curls and all these people.
But you know who have taken a big hit? The cruise ship taxi drivers at La Place Carinage.
And the vendors. You go there, your heart has to go out to them. The arts and crafts people.
It's going to be 1 year, you know, the taxi guys have not worked at La Place Carinage and Point Serafin.
But even you guys at Red Caps.
My goodness.
You're talking about in December we had 40% of the people. In the previous months it was 10 and 20%.
I said it yesterday on my program, I have a George Jones show. On a Saturday, normally, you're talking 2,500 people before COVID. When it came, you know, before the December month, 700 on the side. You know how many people we had on this Saturday? 235.
Yep, I saw it.
335.
12 flights.
12 flights, 300.
There's a flight that came from Chicago with seven people.
7 people. You're talking 335 people. That is what TUI brings in. This is what British Airways brings in sometimes. One flight.
And the point of all of this, Spider, is everybody is making a sacrifice. The same civil servants that you want to complain about, okay, are working more hours at a higher risk than they've ever had to do before. And saying, boy, PM, don't just telling me you love me, show me.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, this
so
enemy.
I'm saying to St. Lucians, we are all in this together. We're all in. Isn't that what we said from day one? Nothing has changed. All it must change, we cannot even say that people are not in discipline. We have to say it requires discipline.
Yes, that's a
and we must demand of ourselves. That's what we must do.
Yes.
Demand of ourselves better. For all of us.
Well said.
Don't tell me that you're a man of the Lord and you cannot see that you must do what you have to do. And for those St. Lucians who are not seeing it, it's the responsibility of all of us to stop and tell them. That's the difference. So when people tell me, you know this, people come to me, oh, PM, your PR sucks.
Yeah.
Okay? I said to them, well, the people who are benefiting need to talk a little bit more.
It's true.
Because there's a lot good going on in the country, but everybody wants to stay quiet.
That's right.
Okay?
Well said.
Everybody needs to be part of the PR campaign.
Right. That's right.
Because the person that you pass today that's not wearing their mask, yes, may come into contact with somebody from your family.
That's right.
And what goes around comes around. I don't want to take any more time.
But I just want to say this before PM, that there are many persons who are prophets of doom in this country.
Yes.
That is all they can preach, and they are not preachers who occupy the pulpits, but they are the preachers on the radios, on the talk shows, on Facebook, at every given opportunity, is to paint a bleak picture, to call condemnation upon people. I am happy that I belong to an organization that is hopeful, that looks forward to something better coming out of that situation. and who continues to work. And that is the type of leadership. And I wanted to say that, PM, when you said about the livelihoods and lives. When Moses was called to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt, when they got halfway into the wilderness and they saw trouble, you know what they said? We would have been better to stay in Egypt under slavery. We should have it would have been better for us to stay there. And that's why God had to send manna from heaven for them. We can't bring manna out of heaven. But I know that we believe in this country. I know that we have a prime minister who has a vision for where we need to go and where we can go as a people. And we must never lose sight. They say you can live a certain amount of time without water. You can live a certain number of minutes without oxygen. But you see, when you've lost hope, you cannot survive a moment.
That's right.
And no matter how difficult the task gets, we will continue to lead in a manner that inspires hope from the people of St. Lucia. And that's what the Prime Minister does in cabinet every single day. We had 3 cabinet meetings last week, trying to deal with all of the issues. Budget. You know how it is to put a budget together in this situation? Not for once has the Prime Minister come out and complained that his work is too much. I know he's more than the Energizer Bunny. He puts more hours than all of us. And he finds the time to do the things that are required. And he's out there. He goes everywhere. This is a leader among leaders. And I have the highest regard, and I think St. Lucia is truly blessed.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
To have a prime minister like this at this point in time. I'm not saying there will not be a better one, and I'm not saying, but every leader is called for a specific time, and that is his lot to carry, and I think he has carried it very well.
I want to say thank you very, very much, and I couldn't do it without the support that I get in my cabinet. I have to go.
Yes, but
I feel very bad because, you know, we commented and reported on a very sad situation that has taken the life of one young woman.
Oh, yes.
And another woman who was raped. And it's very, very difficult because we know, sadly, I know the father of the lady who was killed. And it's very painful because I also think of my daughter.
Yes, sir.
And we commented today it was bad enough that they were either raped or killed, but it was even worse to see the despicable display of pictures. This has to stop.
Yes, it has to.
Okay? Think of it if it was your daughter.
Oh, my goodness.
As a parent, as a relative, as a friend. And we do it with car accidents, and we just seem to want to relish in that. All of a sudden, we become our own reporters. And again, I have to say, St. Lucia, we're better than that. And I gave a full account for the things that we're doing, and I've indicated that I want to see crime go away. We've been very successful in major crimes. But every time that you have a period like this, it brings into question whether, in fact, you're on the right track. And I know that we are. We have to fix the police force. We have to fix the judicial system. We have to fix the social system, and we have to fix ourselves. So domestic crime doesn't happen like that. It's a period. The parents, the neighbors, the friends, the nurses, the teachers, everybody sees it. And we have to do a better job of working together to defend this. And when I make this statement that St. Lucia's broke, this is what I'm talking about. A proper halfway house where women who feel abused, that they have somewhere to go to, feel safe, feel comfortable, and can be anonymous and protected. You have to build those facilities. And I'm grateful to the Canadian government that are helping us to do that.
Oh, great, great.
Continuing to strengthen the police, the judicial system. We're building the new headquarters. Everybody thinks it's about just spending money. No. The facilities the police have are grossly inadequate. Go to Latok and see for yourself. Go around the island and see where the command center for police is. The new CCT cameras, 180, but we're putting up 1,800. All of these things are necessary. All of these things require resources. And here we are in the midst of COVID. And so when I go to my work on a daily basis, I don't have the privilege of saying I'm only going to focus on COVID. I don't. And it's frustrating to me, if anything, because if I could and get rid of COVID, I would, but I can't. I can say and put all the laws in place, design all the protocols, but if we're not going to support them and implement them wholeheartedly as a nation, we're going to fail. But it was a very sad, my condolences go out to all the family members. I'm very grateful. Minister Rigobert was with us, and she talked about what she's doing with gender affairs. Minister Herman Gill Francis was there talking about what he's doing with the police and the judicial system, the new forensic lab and the new DNA testing lab that we have. So even in determining who the young person was, that we can now do that sampling here and not have to send it abroad and wait. And these are the things that this government has done. These are the things that sometimes go unnoticed. But it's about strengthening and building a nation. But the nation can have institutions, it can have laws, but it also has to have law-abiding people that want to be the best in the world. That's what I want to be best in the world.
Mr. Prime Minister, when you have some time, I would love for you on the Minister of National Security, because every time we speak about the police and security, we have a barrage of callers calling in because they feel that the country needs a little more security.
I'll be very happy to come in, and we'll be very happy to show the numbers.
Yes.
And clearly there are areas in which we've made major inroads, and there are areas in which we still have to work. But as I said, I will fix the crime problem in St. Lucia, but the crime problem is not just the police.
Okay.
Crimes of passion, police can't prevent that.
No.
And the gang is about intelligence. It's a whole different game than it was ever before. So unless that infrastructure is in place to cause a young man not to want to join a gang in the first place, that's how far back you have to go. And 13 social workers aren't going to cut it. And the mechanism that we're using to support those persons who are the most vulnerable in our society, particularly single mothers who have not finished their high school and have more than 3 kids, we have to become the parent. There's no two ways around it. She cannot survive by herself. And it's unfair to the child that they would have to live a life like that. And these mothers love their children. This is not what is at issue. It's whether society loves their mother. That's what the issue is, Champagne. As a young boy who loves their mother and sees how society treats their mother, that is the part that creates the problems. This is the part everybody wants to run away from. And that's why I say we must do a better job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you,
All right.
PM.
All right, so Lucia, there you had it, the Honorable Prime Minister making a visit here into the program inside Castries Southeast, and we want to say thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, and I know, St. Lucia, you were very, very paying much attention to the Prime Minister's remarks. Mr. Joseph, we're back on our main program with Inside Castries Southeast.
I know we have quite a few videos,
Yes.
but I don't think we should go to the videos tonight because I mean it's going up to
Well, it's 9:30.
yeah.
So
All right, if you can, I promise the people the video for Chocolate City. If you have that video separate, you can set it up for us.
So I was thinking if you wanted to do the videos and maybe what you wanted to talk about, if you want to keep it.
No, I'll just do the
You just do
video for
Chocolate City.
Chocolate
Okay.
City.
All right, beautiful.
But I just want to say that we are focused as a government. It's a challenge. These are not easy times to govern, but we are managing. You ready with the video? Yes.
It was very terrible. It was been terrible, especially if you fall sick. Anything that happened to you and it rain, it's a problem to reach in the hospital. And plus, when I used to carry school children, and my passengers, everything, and I on my bed sleeping. And when I wake up anytime during the night and it's a rain, I have to take that vehicle and go and park it by the road. When I park that vehicle, I have to pass in that river. Now, even now, I suffering with my knees and things because of that. So what I can say for that piece of work Mr. Joseph do 2006, 2007, I said it was a very good intention he had in his mind to help us to build that road for us. Everybody is happy with that piece of road that built there. Everybody happy. So we can't complain. That is why I don't think they have one like him again. Before Chocolate City, it was too caution. Listen, because it was too caution. It was so terrible. From the time you live by the bridge to reach here, it's in mud alone you passing. And now it's a total different thing.
There's quite a bit of work that is happening, but in these low-lying areas of MAC, there is still quite a bit of work that is to be done. And it is my intention that everything that needs to be done will be done in the community of MAC. So Champagne, while he highlighted the bridge was done, it's the bridge and part of the road was done. But you see the upper part we visited, where you have the footpath and the all of that was done during this term.
Okay.
And it was during this term that the name was changed from Tukoshan to Chocolate City.
Who came up with the idea of the name?
I don't know.
The residents?
When I heard the new name, I said Chocolate City. I was asking, where is Chocolate City?
Yes.
Because I had zero interference with the renaming of the place. And I am still trying to figure out why the name Chocolate City. Now, for those who know what Kailash is doing, that's the same road that you used to go to Kailash place up in Mac, in the upper regions of Mac. And I must say that it is quite an interesting project that Kailash is doing there. I've visited there a few times. I have been part of some of the activities that have taken place there. There are lots of people coming from overseas to come right there for treatment with Kailash for various types of lifestyle diseases. And they do very well when they go there. So, you know, the constituency of Castries Southeast has quite a bit to offer, Champagne, in terms of, and that is why in the coming weeks we will be highlighting some of the things that have happened. Now, tonight on the program, I really wanted to highlight and to commend the businessmen and business places that have seen the rural communities as potential for development
And these rural businesses are competing with some of the businesses within the city and the city environs. And I want to highlight those that impact my constituency more directly. I think one of the first businesses outside of the city that impacted my constituency was capital management.
Okay.
Now, if capital management was not in my constituency, capital management was based in the Cicero community, which is Castries South.
Yeah.
But that's a business when it was opened in a community that was not within the city and did very well. Then came Total Construction Supplies. And I have to compliment Mr. Mangal for Total Construction Supplies have grown as one of the largest locally owned businesses in St. Lucia. And it's amazing that he went to the area of Marigo and started a business of that nature, where generally people would think that a business of that nature would not have survived in an environment like that. And he has grown this business, and this business continues to be a business to be reckoned with. What we have seen now is other competing businesses have had to come and establish other businesses in proximity to these areas to be able to capture some of the market in these areas. And we have places like Central Point, that is right at the Deglo Junction, opposite my constituency office. I have to also compliment West Indies Shipping.
Yeah.
That when everybody would go to have to collect cargo at Port Castries, Shed 4, 5, and 6 were the areas that you would go collect your barrels, whatever goods you had. And I was in the auto parts business. I used to order a lot of stuff from Trinidad, and I always had to go to Shed 6 and these areas to go and collect. And the other sheds before they were broken down, that is the ones closer to La Place Carinage. These were the places that I used to go and collect my goods. Now the goods are available right there at West Indies Shipping in the cul-de-sac area, which is within my constituency. Then you had Super J, which had established a supermarket down there. Because prior to Super J establishing down there, everybody had to come into Castries or go up north to do any shopping that you wanted to do. What we have seen now it's Massey, but we've seen CPJ open on the other side of the road. And we've had Weezo that now Weezo supplies some things that you don't get many other places.
That's for sure.
And Weezo had been one of the maybe very early businesses. Then there's another business some Chinese people own there that sells furniture.
Yeah.
It's some commercial place. We've seen quite a bit of development.
Why you think
taking
that?
place.
Why you think that attraction has been focused on Castries South? Is it because the north is full? Is it because
the
space?
north is congested, but more so you have a fair amount of the population having to come across town to get everything.
Right.
And I think that Frank B. Armstrong used to be down there before the building got burned.
Yeah,
but now almost all of Peter and Company's operations is within that same Goodlands area, though on the Castries south side of the road. So what I am seeing, and then you have KFC opening there, you have Renault doing something, you have Kamaki's Auto Parts.
There's a huge warehouse that has just been completed. What is that? It looks like a depot for the Windward and Louisville. As you're descending down the Goodlands Hill, it's right there on your left.
Oh no, that's Rock Hard Cement. That's a warehouse for Rock Hard Cement.
Okay. That's a
area
huge warehouse.
Oh yeah, so it is showing that there is quite a bit of potential for development in these areas. And businesses don't necessarily have to be in the city center or somewhere up north for it to be viable. We've had viable businesses in all of these areas. Now, I think we can open the lines. My
Yeah.
people have been applying some pressure. I was hoping we would have had an hour of phone calls today, but nevertheless,
So we could still go to 10:30 or 10 o'clock? Which one? I know you always like
we'll
10.
gauge it. Maybe quarter past.
All right, Senator Lucia, we are speaking with the Minister, the Honorable Guy Joseph, and you could call us to special good evening to you. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Champion. Good evening, Mr. Guy.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
The Prime Minister had time to leave before I got that line.
Yeah.
I would like to have some talk from the Minister of Justice and the Judiciary about reinstating hanging in St. Lucia. At some point in time, I would love to have some discussion about that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, whenever you go to Cabinet, I want to have something being discussed about reinstating the hanging in St. Lucia.
All right. Well, as far as I understood, I believe that the laws are still there. I don't know.
Yes, the laws are still there. As to whether it's going to be implemented is a different. The world sees itself as a more civilized society today, and there are many things that it is not entirely not
Okay.
entirely a country that makes some of the decisions, but there are implications when you make decisions as to how other people that you deal with on the international arena will react to this. So
Yeah.
this is not a straightforward situation, but it is still on the law books.
All right. All right, caller. Special good evening to you. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
There is one thing that is troubling me. I don't know if any of you all observed this already, to tell the nation they are wearing the mask wrongly. They are not putting the mask over their nose. And the majority of people, that's how they wear the mask now. And I think that is one of the causes that thing is spreading like mad. Thank you.
All right, caller. Thanks a lot.
Okay, I think that's a great observation. I have said to some people the mask is a new beard because some people use it under the
Yeah.
chin, some people use it just over the mouth.
Yeah.
But you are very right, caller, and I hope that people would take heed.
Special good evening to you. Hello.
Special good evening to you too.
Yes, George Cooper. Good night.
Special good night to my favorite minister.
Good night, and how are you?
I'm good for now.
Okay.
Okay. I just say
You just wanted to say hello.
All right.
Okay.
Nice
George.
to hear you. I still owe you the
All right.
owe you the visit, but they put restrictions on me these days, so I cannot move around as much as I wanted.
They say you have to stay in the east and I in the south.
Okay.
Okay, good night.
All right.
Good
Good night.
night.
You know, I brought up the idea, and I thought about this for such a long time. Let me take a call. Beautiful evening to you. Hello. Boy.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening to everybody. Mr. Joseph,
Good evening.
Actually, I'm calling because I recently met with the Grocery Minibus Association, and I had a proposal for them. Unfortunately, the two of us were supposed to meet, but you had an emergency meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to see how we can meet, because I have a proposal where I think it's a very interesting one, where we can sit and discuss and see how best it benefits everybody, the minibus drivers. I already have all the equipment here on island, and I've been trying to meet the various entities to propose it to them.
Okay.
And I would love to have a sitting with you.
All right. While we have very limited people that we see, because as I say to persons, we are very, very exposed as parliamentary representatives in this environment, not just myself, but I think all 17 parliamentarians, elected parliamentarians, are very much exposed because of the amount of people who comes to us, who wants to see us, people who expect us to stop and speak to them. But I will try my best. If you call my secretary tomorrow, then I will see if I can arrange a day during this week where we can sit down and have a chat. But I just want persons to be very much aware that for me, I say to people, my mother is 86. I visit her minimum once a week. My my brother, I have two brothers who are diabetic and on dialysis. So the challenge that I have is I need to keep myself safe as much as possible because I deal with family members who have pre-existing conditions, and so it really makes it challenging for me. And my colleagues in cabinet will tell you, most times I sit in the back row, I keep my distance from persons. I try to manage, and even in my constituency, when I go around, I tell people, don't come and speak to me if you don't have your mask on. So, but I will make an effort to hear what you have to say and see how it can benefit St. Lucia.
Definitely.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
caller.
I will arrange that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Now, Mr. Minister, I just read a text message that said that the fire service or the firefighters were a little disappointed that the Prime Minister didn't give them a shout out in regards to the front. So maybe you might have to fill in. Maybe he didn't remember the fire
Oh yes,
people.
so definitely, you know, and that always happens, Champagne, that sometimes we miss out. So special good night to all the firefighters.
Yes.
I think when we talk about ambulance drivers, generally that includes, because their firefighters are generally first responders on this. So I am sure it was not deliberate on his part, and we value very highly the work of the firefighters
Yes.
in St. Lucia, because they are the ones who generally operate the ambulance and first responders on the scene of accidents, and even when we call generally just to pick up somebody who's sick.
Yes. And I think it may have slipped him.
Yeah.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, turn on your radio just a little bit, please. Thank you. All right. How you doing?
Hello.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
calling to say good night to my favorite minister, Guy Joseph.
Good night.
Although I'm not living at his side, I'm not by his side. I'm living in Cicero.
Okay.
And I find the Prime Minister and Guy and Joseph and the others are doing a very good job, but people is not following the protocols. People doing what they want. They don't want to accept corrections, and that is why the corona is running all over the place.
Yeah.
People refuse to stay at home. They refuse to take the curfew serious and refuse to take the different diseases serious when they ask them to do what that is necessary to the protocols.
Yeah.
I find you all doing a very good job, and I wish that the United Workers Party will stay in power all the time.
All the time.
And I always love Guy Joseph. That is my favorite minister. Although I wish he was going now constituency. I wish he was there, but he's not running the seat there. He's running the seat on the other side. So
Well,
I always love that minister.
Caller, it's always great. You could re-register, you know. It's not a problem to re-register and you close.
Yes, I always love that minister.
No.
I'm just joking.
We want the
We want you to stay over there.
we are your government. We even if you don't vote for us in my constituency, but once you vote for the United
That's
Workers
right.
Party, you have voted for me.
That's right.
But I wish
That's
Guy
right.
was going for Cicero.
Everybody wants him to run in their constituency, caller.
Yes, because Guy is a very good minister.
Yes, he is. All right. Thanks a lot, caller. Have a good night.
Okay, yes. Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
You know this thing I spoke about earlier with the horns going around the community. You think that's going to be very effective in the
I did use it during the Christmas
you did?
time. So when I went around wishing people Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, I did encourage them
Oh,
to
great.
observe the
Yes.
protocols during the season.
I think that's going to work. Thanks for holding, caller. Oh, we lost this one. All right, 4560931 is our number to call if you'd like to ask the minister a question regarding the constituency of Castries Southeast, the coronavirus, and any other thing. St. Jude's, maybe he may have some answers for you regarding St. Jude, so you could call the minister and ask him any questions you'd like to. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Yeah, I want to speak to Mr. Joseph.
He's right there.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes, Mr. Joseph. Yeah, I want to discuss. I'm a minibus driver running Castries, Babono. I know you're aware of the new route ban they issued into um, to the issuing route bans, which is new route bans out. I guess you're aware of that.
Yes.
But my information was, even though you have recommended that because of the COVID and people losing their job, one of the recommendations was all presidents that are interested have to go back to the general body, discuss it, and the general body will decide who are the most suitable people to recommend for that permit. But in Babono, that was never done. The president took on his own, and he recommended whoever he wanted, unknown to any member.
So caller,
Yeah.
why would you call a program to discuss something that is internal to your association and dealing with your organization? What is the expectation on calling because you belong to an organization. The organization has rules by which it operates. So have you dealt with this at the association level?
Yes. Yes.
Kola, what are you expecting from the minister? Because the minister is saying that you should have dealt with this thing internally.
Well, what I'm saying, we don't have that kind of information I'm giving out there. We just hear it. What I'm expecting from the minister is, no, what I'm saying to you, if your president is not giving you no information, then what can you really do?
But you should not be asking me if your president is not giving. Who made him the president?
I'm not the only person.
No,
I could be in the minority.
No, but then that is why the majority is what carries in any organization that we belong to.
Yeah.
Because the point I'm making to you, and I'm not saying that your concern is not valid. The point I am making is organizations are established. We appoint people to lead out in the organizations, and then we turn around and we complain about what happens. I think it's a situation where if a decision is made within the association that did not meet the stipulated guidelines of the association, that this is a matter that must be dealt with internally. And if the majority of the members have a problem, then there's a process where you write a letter, you get a 2/3 majority of the members to sign the letter, and you convene a special meeting. You summon the executive to a special meeting to deal with this. But calling the program and saying this and saying that, as the minister, I cannot come in and do anything in terms of what happens within your organization.
Are you there, Kola?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, the information I'm giving, what I'm saying is that the information you or yours gave the president is not privy to the general body.
Who gave the president information?
As far as we know, it is a recommendation from National Council and yourself to go back to the general body.
So have you gone
back to them?
Have you gone to the National Council?
Yes, we wrote the National Council. The council members wrote the National Council. We sent a letter to the ministry, and we also have a petition.
Okay, well,
up to a day like today, National Council never responded to the concerned members. Not one letter coming from the National Council. When we had a letter to them, a petition, and nothing from National Council. You know what the National Mr. Godspeed did? He called for our fellows to issue them ribbons also.
So caller, this is not a program of propaganda. I am not going to allow you to make allegations about people that cannot be substantiated because this is your word. And other people come in and they call programs and they, if you want to mention people's names, then identify yourself.
Is that a fair statement, Colin? Would you like to identify
I
yourself?
understand what the minister is saying.
Yeah, but he's also saying that you are mentioning names and you are keeping yours hidden.
Well, I thought Mr. Joe would just know me by my voice. You know, because Mr. Joseph and myself get along well for a long time. We've been together for years.
Well, Kola, it sounds to me, I'm not the minister, but it sounds to me that there's an internal issue and maybe you should deal with it there. And this is what the minister is saying.
Okay, no problem. I've tried to get the minister on his phone many times, but he doesn't reply to my calls. So.
Yeah. All right, Kola?
No problem, no problem.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one. I don't think you'll be able to handle this kind of, like you said, it's an internal issue.
I can deal with it, but I like people to go through the proper channels.
Yeah.
And I don't encourage people to, if you're going to make allegations about people that cannot be substantiated, then I'm not going to allow that on my program.
Yes, and I agree.
Yeah.
Special good evening to you. Hello?
Yes, good evening to you, Champagne. And,
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to ask the minister just a quick question. That road, the Mount Edwin Road, that's after you pass Dimpolet going up to the Gazon Cap there.
Yeah.
Are you all have any plans of doing anything with that piece of road? Because that's a dangerous piece of road when you see it's raining.
Well, if you heard the Prime Minister a little earlier, that's the piece of road that he was making reference to. And if you see the area that was cleared along the side, so the intention is to straighten the road and cause the gradient to be more, let me see, use the, to set it at the right gradient. So the incline would not be too steep from any one point, because this is a very dangerous. Anybody who's not familiar with driving this road, once it rains, if you're coming down and you hit your brakes, you'll go straight. So we are aware of it, and that is part of the road construction project that is ongoing, that this road would be straightened and that it would be able to reduce or make it a lot easier to travel along that road.
Well, I tune in a bit late, but I'm so happy to hear that the government is planning to do something with that road, because that's my road and I have seen too many accidents on that road.
I use that road regular also. I'm very familiar with it.
And sometimes when it's raining and you're going up that hill there, a lot of vehicles have to reverse and turn around and go through currents.
Yeah, because it's problematic both for front-wheel drive vehicles and back-wheel drive vehicles.
Yes.
I remember one day there was a little Fritzon truck driving in front of me. That guy didn't have no speed. And when he reached around the corner there, the truck started just dragging down. It's a good thing nothing wasn't coming up. And I said, Jesus Christ, look at what's happening there. So I am very happy to hear that you all have that in mind to do.
Yes.
Organize.
Okay.
All right, Colin.
Anyway, Mr. Minister, I wish you good luck for the next election. Huh?
Thank you very much, sir.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody that's your partner there, guys.
Yes, I recognize the voice. Have a good one, my friend.
Okay.
All right. Now, I saw the dugout on that, on Mount Elwin. You have any, is there a time frame? Would you know, or that would be up to the Minister of Infrastructure?
That would be infrastructure.
All right, beautiful. 4560931 is our number if you'd like to call and ask the Minister a concern of yours or a question. A beautiful evening to you. Hello?
Hey.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Madame Kakuye, the Minister, bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Ministre, bonsoir, Champagne.
Bonsoir pour vous, partner.
Bon, Ministre, moi, c'est deux secondes pour moi, si vous êtes qui va écrire là.
Nga try figure out ki moun ki la, mo sa me voir.
I vois Brother Jean.
Brother Jean.
Okay.
Ouais.
All right.
So, Kimanya,
bonsoir, moi, on écoute pour du bonsoir.
Moi sav sa, Brother Jean from Forestier.
Oui.
Better known as Barry.
Elle, je vais ici.
Oui. Ok, moi apprécié appel téléphone ça bien fameux.
Bon.
Ok, merci un peu.
Okay, Mr. Berry, you're born to away.
All right,
All
okay,
right,
Captain.
beautiful.
All
Okay.
right.
4560931.
That's one of my strong supporters
Oh,
from
wow.
my home
Wow.
community in
Oh,
Forest
great,
here.
great, beautiful.
Yeah.
Special good evening to you. Hello? Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, I really appreciate this program.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been listening, and I must say I'm fortunate to get the line.
Mm-hmm.
My contribution is I have a concern, and I would wish that not just this minister, but cabinet address it. My problem is you find a contract is awarded to a firm or a contractor, and you would find that contractor have all the equipment to undertake the job. And you find an individual with one machine, like it could be a truck, excavator, backwork, whatever it is, cannot get a job. I find it is unfair, and that cabinet need to intervene. If you award an individual a contract of, let's say, 20 million, at least you can have 50% of the equipment and the other 50% hire individuals, like give everybody a chance to eat the bread. It is unfair that I have an equipment, I cannot get a work for it, and you get the contractor, you have the contract already, and you have all the equipment.
So caller, can you stay on the line so that I can respond to you?
Sure, I have enough credit for that.
Okay, so that is very challenging what you are asking us to do, especially when it comes to projects that go out on tender, because the tender process is very competitive. And so sometimes people go below the price of the project to be able to win the tender. It would be very difficult for a government to be able to dictate to the person what they have to do when they get the contract. What we have seen happening though is there's a lot of vertical integration where some contractors have every single thing that they need, and then they don't allow any work to filter to other persons. It is also the responsibility of government to identify these contractors. So, for example, the Ministry of Infrastructure would hire equipment on a rotation basis, whether it be a backhoe, sometimes an excavator, trucks, they give the small trucks 2 weeks work, then they rotate them. So there are mechanisms in place to be able to deal with that. And there are also contractors who do not buy all of the equipment that they require, so that they can use other people with equipment so that they can get a bread also. These are the contractors that when I give work, I favor giving them work, because they can show you that during the time that they are working, that sometimes the number of subcontractors they have working with them is, they end up paying more to subcontractors, more than 50% of the job. And I support you on this, that maybe we need to design the projects in a way where some of the work must be outsourced, but in the tendering process, it makes it difficult for us to be able to do that.
I understood you clearly, but let me explain something to you. There is no way any individual or company will tender for a project and that they cannot afford to pay an equipment out of their business. Because don't tell me you will tender on a project and there is no allowance for money to play.
So let me explain to you how it happens so you understand. If that contractor bought an excavator and after they did 3 jobs, they've paid the price of the excavator. So whatever they would use that excavator to do now becomes profit for them. Whereas you may charge them $300 an hour for that excavator. They can work their own excavator at $150 an hour or $200 an hour, which is just primarily paying their fuel, their operator, and a little profit margin. So when they are able to execute the job using their own equipment, then the job becomes more profitable for them overall. Now everybody is in business to make profit, and I will not come on the program as a politician and just tell you, yes, we're going to do this because I expect you to vote for me, and then when the time comes, I am telling you, whether in St. Lucia or in any other country in the world, it is always going to be a challenge.
Okay, I understood what you say clearly, and I knew where you were coming from, but I understand what you say. Everybody goes into business for profit, but my point is that government is for the people, not one individual. So, okay, I read that case there. I would like to know what makes you eligible to be awarded a contract. I mean, even though, okay, like me, I come to tender on a contract, and what would make me eligible to be awarded that contract?
Okay, so there are pre-qualification requirements. Some of it is set by the quality of the work that is required to be done. So, for example, if we are putting up a building, we would require, based on the design by the engineer who has this, or the architect who has designed the building and the engineer who has certified it, they would set the pre-qualification requirements. So if they're looking at building a 2-story building or a 4-story building, they would say we need minimum experience, somebody who has built one building that is 2 floors high. You must have a certain amount of turnover of cash, or you must be able to show that you've done projects of a similar nature. So depending on the nature of the contract that you are going to tender for would determine what the requirements are for you to qualify.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to ask you one thing. That I like talking to you, very smart. I learned from you, but I am smart as well. I understood you clearly. But my point is, the first person who undertook a structure, where did that person gain the experience? Wasn't it an opportunity someone gave them?
I agree with you 100% on that. But you see, in a non-competitive environment, you can get through with that. But in a competitive environment, so if you look at, for example, I may be able to give you to build a house for me where you don't have to tender. Okay? So then after you build that house for me, you can use that as a reference that I have built that house.
I understand clearly. I am saying is,
so when you hold on, when you come to
obtain experience if you allow me a chance.
But you have to follow. Hold on.
I understand you. Listen to me carefully. I understand where you're coming from. Now, when you award whoever you award the contract, don't the engineer and the architect still come and guide the project?
Yes.
Right. So you can give me with no experience, no building experience, a project, and be guided by the engineer and architect.
If I build in my house and you never build a house anywhere in your life, that will have a cabin. I bow for kai ba.
But ukopan sanadia.
Moi kopan saukadia me ou moi vlo kopan ki mania system la ka travail.
Ou son chauffeur. Ou pas sa drive pièce machine and you are driving school. Moun na ki ba was de steering, ou pas sa drive pièce côté qui split to was de steering pour son bon chauffeur pour ça oui ben non.
Oui.
Right, c'est point en affaire, ma jamais fait.
Mais les noms qui dépenser l'argent yo les caillou yo pas bay moun qui ka pan travail, yo ka bay moun qui sa travail.
Ou pas qui na pan travail, point en affaire ou ka ba moi chef pour faire travail là. Là nous chay qui projet na ouais ka fait technique groupe contract qui non yo hay tap, ils ont ka bay travail. Qui nom na capable faire travail là, pas ka bay travail.
Ou pas ça ouais ça ka fait en constituency.
Kola, are you an owner of an equipment?
Yes.
Okay. A truck, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm a minibus operator.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to ask.
My point again. I have
Pour qui ça là tu as passé test pour drive minibus ou t'es pour 25 l'année 2 years driving experience.
Nous pas là test minibus là, on va aller trop loin. Non, écoutez, on va aller trop loin. Les moi apprendre drive. Moi toi dans machine, m'a ça si sa ki kos, sa ki brek, sa ki steering, reverse anyen. Ma kon pièce expérience as pou ki man yo ka start ton machine. So an pa gade pou endorsement la. Nou ka gade pou kouman smart drive machine la. On moun gen un machine $80,000 pour un bouche moun drive avec les masses de ou la ma avant rien.
C'est pour ça qu'il y a pedal brakes et clutch lui-même.
Pour un affaire, moun sa prend chance et avant pas tenir ça seulement ou être avant et vous savez ça. La pas tenir am fait dans tous les détails là. Yon side it because les moi fait ça moi en 93, ces machines n'a pas tenir des pédales.
Ça vrai. Ça vrai.
So ou pas ça gain moi là même sur nos choix sevel, moi pas en couillon.
Maka jamais dou ça couillon.
OK, bon envie dou encore.
Moi
travaille by construction. Moi pas en treatment. But moi gata et puis ma c'est moi ka stock aussi place takay. Dans Amérique ou pas ka yon contractor ka font kay from ground ek by met kay la clé. Ou ka hen divers contractor ka passe kay ça. Ou ka hen yon moun pou fondation.
I am very familiar with what you are saying.
Okay, but it is not happening in St. Lucia now. My point is, we have registered contractors here. Okay, you cannot allow, or you shouldn't, and that's where I'm saying the cabinet have to come in and pass some laws for everybody to benefit, because you all, not just Flabo, red and yellow, you all are the people's people. You all are looking out for our best interests. And this is where you all should come in and put them laws that one person shouldn't build a house from ground to finish.
Brother man, oui, ça ou ka mande fait là, ça pas kay fait. Maka même ma debate c'est pour. So un moun ni kay li pour faire, mais gouvernement na building pour faire. Ou kay di yon moun fait fondation. Badou différence like l'Amérique. L'Amérique c'est city a qui ka certify ses contracteurs. Et chaque stage travail là qui fait là, yoni un certificat ka approve travail là. Et si city a pas, so le kay la fini. Si un yen wrong e kay la, ou sa sous city a pour kay ou pas fait bien. C'est li pas ça. Sou ba yon moun fait fondation. Koutale ek yon lot moun moute wol la. Les wol la kochi ek moun nan dou c'est pas faute li wol la kochi, c'est fondation qui pas bon. Qui moun ou ka chebe ou responsable?
Well, c'est pour ça.
So ouais, c'est pas tout ça hotay well l'autre pays et hot ça just vin di mettez ça ici et ça ka travail. Moi comprendre système là l'Amérique.
Il ça travail cette ici. Il ça travail cette ici. Because pour un affaire ba moi te fait avant, moi m'a donné une question, est-ce là ou ba moi en two story building pour faire ba est ingénieur architecte là pas ka venir guide travail là from commencement pour finir pour make sure il fait doit être wall fondation pas coche. Ou dis moi oui, so il ça fait ici là.
OK.
So laisse ça tout le monde ga rampin. Mais ou pas un seul monde qui ga tout travail là et moi like macha travail.
Eh ben quoi là ou pas check ça for because tout teacher ka sushi me ka travail.
Ma check ça fait moi. Là ma non mais tout partout ga di moi ma check ça fait moi.
C'est ça moi dit because now tout teacher tout partout ka roule.
Moi ga pour venir dans office ministère ga de si ça bata.
Oui, gardez fais ça. Fais ça maintenant.
Qui joue dans office pour venir là?
Non, office moi fait même pour ces jours ça because of
qui m'a pour ça communiquer pour ça what mon travail because mon truck 20 ton truck ma jeune travail.
On a couillé office Ministry of Economic Development.
Moi aller là, moi monter the transport board union.
C'est pas union moi dit.
OK, on a photo.
Financial Center Bo Point Seraphine là.
Couillé là avec den ça pour faire.
Ek ngay parler ba ou ek nou kay gade ki sa nou sa arranger because sou na 20 ton truck ek ou di mon pa joindre travail là nan problème.
Yeah, c'est ça mon cas.
Because tout truck en travail c'est dès laisser contracteur même ka di yo ka acheter pour truck pour hol matériel ba yo ek yo pa.
Ça mentionne combien c'est contracteur ek moi aller tout partout mettre 4 mois ek bagay bo ça joindre travail.
OK, so là ou kouye moi nou kay parler.
Ek ma kay faut changer c'est moi qui te kouye ça na écrit intensively.
Oui,
moi vlo bagay.
See, Lani. Okay, Badna. All right. All right, beautiful. Sky FM, St. Lucia, it is 10:15. We're going up to 11, Mr. Minister.
No, 10:30.
4560931. We are unable to show you all of the footage from last week because we had a surprise visit with the Prime Minister. But next Monday, God's willing, we will be able to bring you most of it. Special good evening to you. Hello. Good evening.
Bonsoir, Mr. Champagne.
Bonsoir pour monsieur.
Bonsoir, Anchaya Chai.
Merci. Mr. Minister là tout.
Avec bonsoir pour Minister of Love.
Minister of Love.
C'est moi du Champagne, ma capable de ministre, je parle là.
OK, mon kakuto.
Moi, passé, petit côté moi passé en cette ici. Je crois que pas dans cette question, mais aux alentours côté Gaïka.
Oui.
Tout qui mais toute bagaille Mr. Guy. Après pour moi, ça fait moi pour tout travail Mr. Guy a fait. Mr. Guy a fait travail ni le bas, ni flanc pour appeler qui mounouye, qui mounou pas. Il faut qu'on travaille mais même côté là. Là on comprend ni mon les il vini et gang ni petit portrait, yo ka courir. Yo ka courir parce que yo pas voulu dire travail là, yo pas voulu ministère.
Yo pas voulu c'est moun yo awe yo. Oui.
Question pas content ça qui bon pour yo. Depuis yo pas pour yo pas rien pour. Bon, moi apprécier ça ministère faire. Il pas mis qui bas qui bravo. Il joue la pointe. Tout va faire ministre of law. Mr. Guy, bonsoir.
Oui.
Bonsoir.
OK, bien bon. Vous voulez dire l'autre bagaille? OK, Bana. Bien bonne soirée. Yeah, merci, Yoshai. You know, it's very ironic that we've been on this program for what, like 3-4 months, and not one single Labour Party person have called from your constituency criticizing you. That's something. Huh? We'll take a call and we'll get back to that. A beautiful evening to you. Hello?
Bingo, moi c'est David Anatrai.
Oui, oula.
Mr. Minister.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Paola, the conversation the Prime Minister
Oh,
had.
yes. Man, go ring bell out to say, oui.
Kobe Bloody, Saki Nizaway, Tan. Saki Kakopan Tan. So what I ring bell Abama by.
Now ring me encore by Minister. Où savent qui ça moi content? Où savent qui ça moi content en tout ça Prime Minister dia? OK. Oui. Eh bien, monsieur ça m'a dit là. Oui. Moi ka ring me encore. OK Doudou. OK. Now ring me encore. Oui. OK Doudou.
Thank you.
And that was very significant when the Prime Minister said that the enemy is not him, it's not the government, it is the COVID-19. That is the enemy. And that is who we should fight. I was saying a few minutes ago
and the enemy expands as people side with the enemy.
That is for sure.
And there are some people siding with COVID.
That is
and we have to watch them.
That is for sure. A beautiful evening to you. Hello?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Bonsoir pour monsieur ministre.
Bonsoir.
Something, au dernier monsieur qui est la tribune, qui dit à mini un truck 20 tonnes.
Oui.
Et puis pas jeune travail. Peut-être truck là, il n'est pas dans la porte d'air.
Peut-être. Change au dit peut-être, hein?
Oui, peut-être.
Oui.
Et il y a l'autre parole, something about les licenciés en 1993.
Oui.
C'est le parti ni perdre l'autre side là.
C'est ça il dit.
Moi fait ça moi en 92 moi aller driving school. Dans ça moi aller en dedans ça veut dire que c'est aller mettre là c'est frontière. C'est qui frontière.
Oui.
Et puis mon a qui était à monter drive là, il tenait perdre l'autre side là. So Makai decide il y a pas pour peut-être il était un monde juste pour un chance à assister.
Oui, peut-être.
Mais en 92, les moins allés et monsieur qui monsieur moi, il jeune, il a toujours. OK? So en 92 les moins fait la tenue perdre l'autre là.
Oui, mais l'année ça, on te carré na chay moun te just ay fait licence yo
as ou own private machine yo. La paté ni driving school établi kon a Brezan. So n'importe moun te sa pou un learner's permit. Écoute ça sign ni pour une machine, écoute ka just ay fait test ou.
Ok.
Oui.
Eh bien, mais il a fait, il a couru
Minibus.
mais aussi minibus. Oui. So, il y a un lot de monde qui a fait l'argent si chocolat pas travail.
Oui.
Well, il can invest l'argent, la panne wrong avec ça. Hein?
Non, m'a pas dit, mais il a pas impression qui il pas jeune pour faire rien.
Well, Ojo, si pas jeune, moi dis peut-être il pas regarder votre côté. Hein? Mais il can parler avec le ministre by invitation.
Okay.
Right, okay, beautiful.
Yeah, bonsoir.
Wosi partner, I'm going back to that again. Your constituency is wide. And if the Labour Party, I know how they operate, I know how they think. Not one single one of them have called in to say you have not done work in your constituency because you know they would have. A beautiful evening to you. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Just wanted to participate on the program.
Go ahead. Yeah, don't listen to your phones. Just speak with us. Just speak with us.
Good evening.
Don't speak. Don't listen to your radio or your device. Just speak with us.
My question to the minister. Before I put in my question. Yes. I must say I have admired the way you have really carried yourself, and I hope that I wish you all the best for the election program.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to ask is, this island in the road, there's a little island in the road as you go into Corinth. It was taken out.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know, will that always be out? Because I see accidents are going to happen.
Amen, caller. Amen.
Okay.
I just, with the little island, it deterred persons from going too close to the center. But now persons will be daring and they will do things. I wonder, what are you all going to put there?
So, unfortunately, I cannot answer that question. The Ministry of Infrastructure would be the ones to answer that, but I can make an inquiry about it. So, for example, in the cases where you remove the island, because I know initially we had looked at the possibility of a roundabout for that Corinth Junction to when the traffic light was removed to allow the better flow of traffic. I don't know if the buildings that have come up in the general area now, whether there would be sufficient space to put in a roundabout, but I understand what you are saying, and I think it is something that the Ministry of Infrastructure will have to look into, so I will raise the matter.
Okay, and another thing, though I have noticed it out and I have not seen it being put back, but I think they should mark that road so persons can know where is the center of the road, where you can go to go right. You understand?
Oh yeah, I think the roads will be marked because I think this time around the Ministry of Infrastructure has done more road markings than we've ever had in the history of road markings in St. Lucia. I mean, my Forestier Road has markings on it, so I definitely expect that there would be markings on that Corinth Road.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, it's just that I wouldn't like any deaths to take place, and if there's a death, persons will complain and say the road wasn't marked. You know, so they should try and do it as quick as possible.
Caller, your observation in the Marisol Junction is the same with mine because I saw guys making a turn and heading right into another vehicle.
Okay.
I saw that.
Anyway, have a good evening.
All right, you have a great
very
one.
much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to go back there again with and I'm inviting the Labour Party people down in the Castries Southeast constituency to call the minister here and lodge your complaints. And if you don't, it tells us that the minister has been very, very good in all of his 15 years as the parliamentary rep. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, Champagne, you listen to the Prime Minister carefully tonight?
Yes, I did. I was sitting right here. I'm still here.
And you saw how passionate he was. You saw the passion in him.
I saw him at one point in time even wanted to cry. I saw that tear coming out.
I was just coming to that. You know,
Yes.
that is the reason why I think he left. He
Yeah.
was getting emotional.
I saw that too.
And people have been preaching, oh, the Prime Minister don't like St. Lucian,
Yeah.
talking a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And there are some people who digest that garbage.
And we know who they are, caller.
Of course.
Yeah, we do
I
know
think
who
the
they are.
Prime Minister has the country at heart and he has the people at heart.
I don't
And
think.
he's very passionate about what he does.
Caller,
Very.
I have said that many times. I had a lot of respect for Dr. Kenny Anthony as an intellect, but I've said it several times. In all my interactions with him, I never felt that his heart was in the right place for the people of St. Lucia. You see, Prime Minister Alan Shastney, he may not be the brightest. He may not be the most articulate. But when it comes to what makes you a leader, the love and care and concern for the people, I don't put anybody above him. And I will choose that every day before I choose eloquence and how bright you are as a person. I think that the best ingredient for a true leader is love and concern for the well-being of his people. And that is coupled with all of the other skills that he has as a person.
Because none of our former leaders never had to endure what he endured and the situation we have found ourselves in.
And the level of attacks on his person, on his family, on everything that he has tried to do that is for the good of St. Lucia.
It's like he has committed a crime against humanity. That's how I look at it.
Well, caller, there's a price to be paid, and all of those people, one of these days, will have to answer. I could tell you that.
But you know, caller, you know why this is so. It's because the opposition sees that type of leadership that is there and the way the government is operating, that the opposition sees that if they do not go on an all-out attack with propaganda, that they will be out of office for a very, very long time. So desperation is creeping in, and wait until you hear the candidate for Central Castries, and then you will know how desperate the Labour Party
Yes,
is.
sir. Yes, sir.
Champagne had already spilled some beans.
And
it's out of, I think what is going on now is out of desperation and
Oh,
fear
yeah.
from the Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And caller, you heard who he said the enemy is, right?
Of course, it's COVID. It's nobody
Every day.
else. It's nobody
Every
else.
day.
It's not the Labour Party.
Yeah.
It's not the UWP.
Every day.
It's not the people of St. Lucia. It's the virus.
That is right. Some
And
people.
everybody is like the Prime Minister is the virus.
Can you believe it?
But good things come to those who wait.
Yeah. And we all have an account of our sins. It doesn't matter what we do. We all have an account. So all those that continue to chastise him and do all what they have to do, everyone has to pay a price. Everyone. All of us. All right. Beautiful. Have a good evening, caller. All right. Beautiful. So we have 10:30. What are we doing?
Yes, so
We'll take a
Champagne,
couple more calls.
to add to what the caller said.
Yeah. Hold on a minute, caller.
It's the same voices with the same
Hold on 1
message
minute,
all
caller.
the time. That's not the majority of St. Lucia.
That is for sure.
It's the same small group of desperate Labour Party operatives who are peddling that message. Yes.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening.
The Prime Minister say the enemy is the COVID.
Yes.
I think we have other enemies too. The people who opposing every good thing that's happening in this country is another enemy.
Okay. That's it, caller? Hello? All right, I think the caller wanted to just convey
And
this
the
message.
caller
And
is
he's right.
And I can tell you, without fear of criticism, that Labour Party continues to prove
that they are the biggest enemy of development in this country.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Everything they do is against St. Lucia.
Yeah. All right, caller, St. Lucia, we will take what, 2, 3 more calls, 5 more, 10?
2 more calls.
Beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello, good night, Champagne.
Good night, yes, sir. Good evening.
What's up, my sir?
I'm doing good. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Joseph, good night.
Good night.
Guy, let me tell you something. The Labour Party is like a drowning man. And they really want to catch at any straw. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. The United Workers' Party, like everybody else said, we are like a turtle. We come out and we lay a couple eggs and we just go out. You understand that?
Yeah, we're listening.
The Labour Party is like a yard pound. They lay one egg and everybody.
So, vous savez causer ça, you pour faire omelette.
Oui, perhaps they say but that's not really happening.
Oui.
Now, so let me tell you, this is it is really, really, really serious. You understand? These guys are doing anything to get back into power. Mr. Shafney has never been the problem. They are making everybody think that the problem is us. The problem is COVID.
That is right.
And I will be the first person to champion the cause, or maybe have the first T-shirt to write that Alan Shafney is not the problem, the COVID is. And I'm going to admonish every St. Lucian to do the same. That has nothing to do with the United Workers' Party or the Alan Shafney administration.
And caller, when you make that T-shirt, I will garnish it a little bit. You will put that COVID is, and then I'll put on the bottom of it, on the Labour Party. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Serious.
But honestly, I want to make an appeal to St. Lucians. It's very serious. I want to make an appeal to St. Lucians.
Yeah.
I was speaking in my capacity as the mobilization officer at the Usual Social of Southeast Castries, so you know.
Yes, we do.
Okay? We have a serious problem in Lucia right now, and it's affecting every St. Lucian. I'm letting you know that we have to be on our guard. I had the opportunity of talking to the mayor of Fallafrost, and I put a question to him, and what he said, his answer to me was, you don't give hungry people to share food. You get me?
We're there.
So I want to make that statement in Creole because it is very serious. Les Saint-Luciens qui a coûté vraiment cher. Pas by gens qui fait. C'est pas oui marié.
Ça you can manger tout.
Mais you can prendre tout pareil. You don't give hungry people to share food.
Oui.
Les Saint-Luciens qui a coûté vraiment cher. Pas by personne qui fait c'est pas oui marié. And this is very serious. We are going to pay for that, and we're going to pay for it heavily.
Yeah, well, we saw it in 2011 up until 16.
We are in, this is an election year. And one of the things, the problem I personally have is Nomi Sunday. $250. Every scavenger coming and every scavenger just come from by the side of the road and they just come, they pay $250 and they are independent minister or kind of nonsense.
No, but that is the rights of the people, I call it. That's in the Constitution.
Right.
No, but it is.
We have to be, but we're talking about the states and everywhere.
No, caller, but that is part of our Constitution. It gives everyone an equal opportunity to.
Everybody that just come from by the side of the road can just pay $250 and go up for election. That cannot be right.
Caller, this has been the way it is for decades.
But can we change it?
Well, that is, it has to be on
I
the minds of
don't
the people.
think in democracy, because people can put their names on the ballot, is who voting for them.
That is true. Exactly.
So you don't want to put it, because if you put it too high, then they'll tell you is only the rich man
Yes.
who can run politics.
And that is discrimination.
So I am neither here nor there on it in terms of the quantum of how much people pay to get their name on the ballot paper. But I agree that people can make a mockery out of this thing where a dozen persons can go and then put their names down, even though they get one vote or two votes. But that's democracy.
Yeah.
You have to abide by it.
Mr. Minister, that is what I understand that. That is why I am saying it's a little too low.
What is your number, caller?
So you'll be making a mockery of democracy.
What amount you think should be put on there?
10 grand.
$10,000? Caller. All right.
Anyway, on a serious note, Mr. Minister, we have a situation in Badni that we need you to look into.
Okay.
There is a retaining wall that was done lower down just before you get back Darcy, just by
happy hour.
By happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
That job was done, and I don't know which was the engineer or whoever was part and parcel of that project. That project is about maybe 3 or 4 years old, and that project has collapsed.
No, it's more than 3 or 4 years old, caller, because I have been there for 5 years and that wall was there before I came there.
Yeah.
So it's about 5 years.
It's more than 5 years.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it should collapse.
No,
what the minister is saying, he didn't build it.
It collapsed before 5 years, but because remember, that wall was built somewhere between 2013 after the Christmas Eve trough or somewhere thereabout. That wall was constructed. And by the time I came into government, I think in 2016, I think it was Hurricane Matthew was the first storm we had, and I think that wall collapsed.
Wow.
So it was less than 5 years after it was built that it collapsed.
Wow.
So, Mr. Minister, it's not about the length of time. I need you to get the point. The residents in the area had the people listen to the residents from the area, that wall would have been standing still.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to do your homework, you would have realized how much money that the government of St. Lucia, whether it be Labour or Flabo, is the government of St. Lucia has spent on that wall. And now it is causing, it's a health hazard, and it is bad for the people of Badni. And if you were to check it right now, it's going to cost us maybe twice the amount that they did.
Yes, so caller,
I really appreciate that if you can look into that.
I will look into it. I will find out what was the price of the contract and who executed that contract. And I can tell you, I have gone there. We've done some tests in the area because we are in the process of reconstructing the wall. And we have the engineers looking at it as to whether they are going to put a gabion basket wall or whether they are going to put a solid concrete wall. And I know they have done the geotechnical studies and these things to make that determination. But I agree with you, it is worth looking into to find out why that wall collapsed after such a short space of time that it was constructed. And the walls on the other side of the road, which is 30 and 40 years old, still standing strong.
So, Mr. On behalf of the people, I would really say that you would look into that. That will really be soothing to the people of the area, and you can come back to us maybe preferably maybe next week, Monday or after that, and give us an update on that, and we would be very happy.
All right, caller.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
That's our last caller.
All right, so that was our final call, St. Lucia, for this evening. And I know if we continue to sit here, we will have calls up until 1 in the morning. Mr. Minister, before you say your final statement, anything on St. Jude's? Because I have calls every morning here that they know you're coming here.
In fact, today, this afternoon, I had at 3 o'clock, I had a meeting on St. Jude. I should be visiting there a day in this week. The work is progressing very well on the ground floor. Almost all of the plumbing is done. So we would expect that casting of the ground floor can begin by Monday, and you'll start seeing the cladding going up for the building. I know all the partitions and everything for the inside. They have received all the studs and everything. So these things would... So I am quite satisfied that there is a plan in place that we are going to accomplish our goals.
All right, beautiful. So all of my callers on a daily basis, as the minister just told you, I don't have to say anymore. He told you what is happening with St. Jude's.
Champagne, I do not want people to lose sight of the message brought by the Prime Minister.
Yes, indeed.
And that we have to defeat COVID. We cannot allow COVID to defeat us. And it's going to take a concerted effort on the part of everyone. I don't think drinking a few beers and a couple bottles of rum is worth the future of what we are doing. Neither do I think that having a house party or, not walking the streets without your mask, it is not the little sacrifice that we have to make. And sometimes I look at it from my standpoint. So I used to drive without my seatbelt sometimes in St. Lucia. And that happens to us because we feel it's okay. Yet still, whenever I went to the US and I entered the vehicle, the first thing I would do was to clip on my seatbelt.
That's for sure.
And then when I came back to St. Lucia, I said, but no, if I'm going to respect the laws in the other person's country, why wouldn't I respect the law in my own country? Because you know what? In America, I know if the vehicle shifts and a police see you, you definitely will get the penalty of dealing with driving or being a passenger, not just as the driver, just as a passenger without the seatbelt. We have our vehicles here, they have alarm systems and they have some vehicles in the US, if you don't put on your seatbelt, it will not move.
That is true.
Even if you drop the handbrakes, you put it in gear and you rev it, it ain't going nowhere until you clip your seatbelt. We observe rules in other people's country and we don't want. So the same St. Lucians will not abide by the rules there. If they go to another country and they know these are the rules, they will follow the rules. I want to appeal to our people. Do not be swayed by the politics of the Labour Party. And I can tell you, the Labour Party is playing nasty politics.
Oh, they always have been.
I mean, you said about the callers, the Labour Party people should call me on the program. I would love them to call.
Yeah.
And highlight what the problems are.
That's right.
That they feel they are not getting the representation that they want. But the Labour Party have people campaigning on the ground. And all they're telling you is, Flambeau is not good. These people lying, they're stealing. And these Labour Party people, the evidence I can bring on this program to show the level of crookedness and mismanagement that they have done.
Yeah.
And Champagne, as we go on inside Castries Southeast, I am being very moderate in how I deal with things. But if the nastiness that the Labour Party is doing on the ground is going to continue, you see, when people want to use religion for politics, I don't use God in my politics. I deal with things in a fair and a just way. And the people of Castries Southeast know the representation that they are getting and how it is working out. I don't go around bad talking Labour Party people. If people are going to re-elect me, I want them to re-elect me on my performance,
Yes, sir.
not on what I say about somebody else. Because all of us can say stories about people. All of us can promise people things. The question is, who has delivered? And I want, if I am going to be re-elected, to be re-elected on the representation I have given, not on what I am promising. And that's for the people of Castries Southeast to decide.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of people tell me, boy, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm not worried about anything. The day the people tell me, we don't want you to represent us again, I will say thank you very much. I enjoyed the time that I served, and I enjoyed the contribution that I have made to my constituency and the place that I will continue to live, hopefully, for the rest of my life.
Yes.
So I want the people of Castries Southeast and the people of St. Lucia in general to understand there's a desperation in the Labour Party. Maybe next week we will talk about Central Castries and what we are hearing. Because if it was Flabo, you would hear it all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But I will reserve comment on this for next week when I will deal with the issues. Good night to the people of Castries Southeast and to all my listeners, whether you're in Connecticut, in New York, in Boston, wherever you are. Good night to you and to all my constituents. While our office remains closed, I will make myself available as much as possible to address your concerns.
And we didn't lose any time tonight. The Prime Minister's visit was well deserved. And he
Very
made a
much.
very good speech tonight.
Yes.
And like the Prime Minister said, St. Lucia, the enemy, St. Lucia's enemy at this time is not Alan Shastner, it's not Guy Joseph, it's not me, it's not any one of us.
It's not
It is
even
COVID.
Philip J. Pierre
It is not,
Kenny Adams.
exactly. It is COVID-19. This is our enemy. Puse monagi ka di Shastner se pa enemy. COVID-19 se enemy. Mr. Minister, thank you very much. I hope to see you next Monday at the same time.
Hopefully, Champagne, I've asked my wife to join me on the program one of these days.
Oh, beautiful.
So I don't know
Beautiful.
if she'll be here, if she's choosing to come in next
Yes,
Monday
yes.
or sometime after.
And she's
but
always
definitely she will be joining me on a few of the programs.
Yes.
So some of the questions you want to ask, then you'll be able to ask her.
Of course, beautiful. And she's always welcome. Well, St. Lucia, that would do it for tonight. Another episode with the program Inside Castries Southeast with the Honorable Guy Joseph, Parliamentary Representative for Castries Southeast. Along with yours truly, Champagne. I will be back here tomorrow morning to bring you the program Champagne in the Morning, where you could call us at any time to discuss the events of the day. Don't forget the enemy, and I'm going to be saying that all week long, all month long, every month, every day. The enemy of St. Lucia presently is COVID-19. You need to bear that in mind. All right, so St. Lucia, until tomorrow morning when we will say our hellos again, you have a great evening. And thank you. Always remember to say thank you to the great God above. We are going directly into the BBC. We will see you tomorrow morning.
do. You know, as a composer,
That is what these residents have been without vehicular access from the time that they have been living there.